I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs blown. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make the man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Niger boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, I'm scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh. Get it from my mama, hip so thick that I need tempo. Personality spicy, body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, stay where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing. You need endurance to go in, I got mileage on this pen. I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
you guys know, I know you guys were checking shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Austin.
Oi, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh, you wanna get sued?
Judgment, Austin.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love it when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. And it's so good to see you guys tonight. Thank you so much for being here. You know, Bo, I put out a second link and I wonder if it was the second link wasn't good because okay, if the first one worked, all right. So we're sharing a change.org petition for, I'll just pull it up because I have it up here. Let's see here. For Haley Busby. And what oh wait, hold on. I want to show it. Let me go back to the other page. Okay, here we go. So it's Haley's Law. And we were talking about Haley earlier today. Her name's Haley Busby. She went missing out of Indiana and ended up being found in Ohio. Um, Beautiful young lady here, and her family has been working hard to implement a pink alert in her honor, mandated grooming awareness education in schools, right? So, really important stuff here, guys. Would love it for you guys to be able to be a part of this. So, the issue is we call on Indiana General Assembly to pass a comprehensive safety package, otherwise known as Haley's Law. Create the pink alert, right? So, that would be one step. Second thing they're asking for is mandate yearly updated predator and online grooming education in Indiana schools. I think we need that in every state, all 50 states, because the technology is ever changing. And so you can also read more here. I'm going to copy this link. I hope it doesn't show one of those very long and drawn out links. No, this is a good link. Okay, so this is the www.silverliningofhope.com/Haley. Okay, and they have a really great initiative that we were sharing and talking about earlier today. So here's a synopsis. On January 5th, 2026, 17-year-old Haley Busby went missing from Fishers, Indiana. She was immediately classified as a runaway because there was no confirmed physical abduction, so an Amber Alert was not issued. Because she did not have a qualifying disability or a Silver Alert did not apply, Haley simply didn't run away. She was actually lured, right? She was lured from some apps. There was a man that was grooming her for over a year. Um, Really tough situation, guys. He was grooming her. He had visited her a few times, even showed up to oh, wonderful, Shauna. Great. Okay, wonderful. Great, great. Sometimes those long links can be, overpowering, and then it's like half of it ends up on the other another chat message. Thanks, Shauna. So yeah, but really important to know that, this is a bright young lady. She wasn't like a troubled young lady, per se. I mean, she may have been dealing with some loneliness and things like that, but that's normal in life. We all deal with that from time to time. It's just a little bit harder when you're a teenager. Us girls could be very sensitive and dramatic, in that way. So, in today's digital world, a predator doesn't need a van or a public encounter. They only need a smartphone. Indiana's current alert system leaves a dangerous gap when someone goes missing under suspicious, unusual, or high risk circumstances that don't meet existing alert criteria. That gap can delay public awareness during the most critical early hours. So they're calling for Haley's Law, which would create a pink alert system for missing persons and children when credible risk indicators exist, even if Amber Alert or Silver Alert criteria are not met. This would include timely public notification when disappearances involve unusual or concerning circumstances. And I think that anytime someone is missing, like they don't show up for a scheduled work event or, work day, or they're just not where they need to be. I think that is always a suspicious circumstance. And that might be because, we follow true crime here. And so we do look at things a little bit more suspicious, maybe than other people would. But I think, this is much needed in all areas. I think all kids need to be aware of this, right? So, and, we don't have to pass a law to implicate some of these things just within our own households. Like there was a coloring sheet that I found on Facebook, and it was designed for little kids, and it has little bows on it because that's Haley's thing is bows, pink bows. And it goes over the list of things and puts it just in really simple terms, on how to combat some of these children feeling comfortable with complete strangers online. Again, it's not a stranger in a van. It's not someone luring you from your bus stop. It's, um, unfortunately, people that are just in the privacy of their own home, very easy access. So it's really important to get the ball rolling. I also would like to see more too for boys as well, because I know that boys are lured away as well. We've covered Steven Stainer's case out of California, right? And that's an older case that happened, I believe it was the 70s. But he was lured after school by Kenneth Parnell, and that man had lured many children and young boys. So it's just really important to spread that awareness. Coffee Crime and Cats, good to see you. Says Ohio needs this too. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Oh, you're so welcome, Shauna. Oh my gosh, it like makes me so sick just to think this poor girl, was in the hands of this monster. And I think it's huge for Indiana, Shauna. I think it's um, you know, so big for all of us, right? To just it has to go federal. Yeah, you're right. It has to. I'll be praying for it. We'll be pushing for it here too. It's a very worthy cause that can affect all of us, So, and I so appreciate you bringing this case to us. I'm just so behind. And thank you so much, Chuchi, for the pink hearts. It's so important, right? The outshowing of support that was done for Haley in the town was just really beautiful to see. Everyone had pink light bulbs up. I saw pink lights on Facebook because I did join the Facebook group. So just really, really, really awesome way to turn a situation around that is just so, so sad, right? So they also want to mandate modern predator awareness education in Indiana schools, which would focus on online grooming, digital manipulation, and coercive tactics that are used today, right? And so, especially when we were young guys, uh, and for decades, like they're saying here, we've always been taught, and we've taught children about the stranger danger, right? You don't go with a stranger. If someone says they have a puppy at their car, they probably don't, right? Or hey, I need help finding my cat. We were told those things because that's how predators used to operate. Now they're more sophisticated, and they're absolutely attacking children in games like Roblox and different online platforms, and then they're bringing them over into another chat room which is private. Some of them are super encrypted on both ends, and so it is a private conversation that cannot be accessed by law enforcement even. So that is really, really scary as well. I don't know if they should have those types of communications available. Although I do believe in our freedoms, but I mean, it's really tough because not everyone's going to use that for bad, and some people do want the privacy of an encrypted conversation if they're speaking about something that's confidential. So that is a tough situation, but I think that we need to remember that our kids can access these things, and we just have to be super aware of that. So today's predators often pose as friends, peers, or mentors, reaching children throughout social media, gaming platforms, and online communities. Our laws, alerts, and education standards must reflect that reality. And I think that is so well put. I couldn't say it better myself. So let's see. I want to show you guys this, what I shared here on my community wall. Let me just remove this really quick and add this to and we're also going to just quickly talk about her name is Kylie Aurelano. I hope I say that right. If I don't, I'm going to try to get a better pronunciation. Um, but I wanted to share that. Oh, here we go. Okay, I was like, where did it go? All right, so this is the coloring worksheet that they put up for Haley's Law. And it's just an acronym for her name, right? But it has some really great tips on there that kids can use, and it's easy to remember, right? So hide personal information like your name, your age, your school, your address or location, and photos, right? The kids don't need to have their location on for anybody but their parents to see. My daughter and I still have our locations on for each other. So, and she was like, "What are you doing in Nashville?" Because, she knew I was taking a trip, but I guess she forgot when. But yeah, so that was funny when she sent me that message. But again, those things can be good, used for good, they can be used for bad. Um, Avoid so A would be avoid private conversations with strangers, especially if they wanna move off the platform, right? So this is just really good information to talk to the kids about, setting up red flags, or if you're talking to a little one, you could say, "That's a pink bow," right? Or something like that for Haley, but I think it's just so important to get, these conversations under control early, because you never know when they're going to encounter these situations, and we don't want it to be too late. Um, and then identify grooming tactics, right? So if they're flattery, gifts, secrecy is a huge one, pressure. If you feel like you're being pressured by someone, it's so important to, cut that off, right? So you leave and block immediately, don't explain, don't argue. Evidence, right? Save the screenshots and messages, don't ever delete. And then the big one, you're not in trouble. So it's not your fault if someone is trying to groom you or get a hold of you, and they're making you feel uncomfortable, it's not your fault, right? You didn't do anything wrong. But it's important to tell a trusted adult. So I think these are just great tips, and what a wonderful way to honor Haley and her memory, because what happened to her is horrific. All the details have not been released. As of 2 weeks ago, they had not fully went through discovery yet. So as soon as they do that, they're going to have more. A grand jury will most likely indict unless there's a plea deal. Um, so things are still a little bit up in the air. Hello, Kiki, 2025 True Crime. Hey, girl, how are you? And we have Shauna says, yes, it's wild that it's not already implemented in schools. Right. Good touch, bad touch, stranger danger, right? Wildfires. We learned that not in time to talk about this, and it doesn't happen overnight. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing, a whole year. Think about the patience this guy had, and then he visited her a couple of times and didn't take her, right? Or didn't lure her, have her come with him. Um, he even had the guts to show up where she worked, and she worked at a restaurant, and for any of us that have worked at restaurants, like, everybody knows everybody really well, and if somebody comes in, for you, then people are aware of it. They're like, "Oh, is that your boyfriend? Is that, whatever." Everybody's kind of aware, and everybody, like, talks in restaurants. That's just kind of how it is. And so, for him to go there is so bold. I was thinking about that after we were listening to the news coverage. So yeah, very patient, stalkerish, and predatory behavior. Hello, little Miss Sharon. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. And SI officer is here. Hey, SI officer. And let's see. Thank you, Detroit, so much for signing that. It means so much, guys. It does. Oh no, Kiki, you're such a hard worker, girl. Oh my goodness. And I'm praying for the girls. I know that you'll probably be the one to get sick later because your mom taking care of everybody. So make sure you get that vitamin C. um I just sent the link to a couple other creators as well. Oh, great, Chuchi. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I think Haley is getting a lot of coverage on Facebook and TikTok, so hopefully we can get some pink hearts rolling through YouTube. That'd be great. Hey, Sherry Lynn, good to see ya. And as the officer says, so much for the Me Too movement. And where we are today and what's happening to these precious children should have already been implemented globally. I agree with that. I don't think that was taken as seriously as it should have been, SI officer. Even when, we had the original Epstein victims coming out, people weren't even taking that seriously, as seriously as they should, in my opinion. Um, Sammy, I agree. Good to see you, Sammy. She says we've come such a long way since AOL Instant Messenger, but the bad actors online have also evolved so much. Yeah, like back in the day, they would have chat rooms and forums and things like that. And it was dangerous. It just seems like um since there's chat features or functions attached to these gaming apps, it's just like the predators are right there and they can just message a child so easily. And I mean, I think maybe that could be a big bottleneck too, to look at and say, maybe we shouldn't do chatting on those games, especially if the kids are going to be on them. Um, you know, it's almost like a predator's playground. I mean, they just have access and, the parents think the kids are just playing a game, and they're really talking to somebody they shouldn't be, So I think so too, Detroit. Detroit says this petition should be sent to every school across the US, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just so important, isn't it? It's not a big ask. It's very straightforward to the point. Let's implement this pink alert. Let's get the ball rolling on education for these kids to know the red flags and be aware of this, and parents too, because some parents, like I have never heard of the session app. And that's the one that seems to be the most dangerous in terms of it being completely private, where, the conversation is deleted and no one can retrieve it. And that's where they're going to go to do the worst stuff. I mean, they were still pulling bad things on Snapchat where it can be retrieved. So God only knows what they were doing on session, and that doesn't even sound good, right? It sounds naughty. Like, it doesn't sound like anything anybody should be using. What's the point of it anyway? But I'm sure there's some good reason to use it. I just don't know what it is. So, MySpace, exactly, Shauna. That's right, MySpace. And yes, you're correct with the hearings, lady. You're on it. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely, Shauna. I was like trying to keep um all of the cases because I know so much had popped off even, just a couple of weeks ago, and I knew like the last week of February was going to be super busy. So, but yeah, I mean, I think this is so wonderful and important, it just really is. And Haley's life matters, and she shouldn't have to lose her life without any meaning behind it. It's just so sad that she did. Yeah, well, that's it, have the kids watch over each other, Kiki. That's a good idea. And let the kids know, like, hey, you know, if you see something, right, say something, do something, tell a trusted adult, and it's about opening the conversation because it's tough with kids, they don't want to tell us anything because, we're the parents, but they might tell their brother or sister or friends, friends definitely. Um, thank you, Kiki, for signing. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. And I wanted to show you one more thing on um oh, great. It's been 2 years. Why don't we have any age progression photo? Oh, okay. I think that was probably meant for Sebastian's. I'm not sure if they're going to do an age progression photo or not yet, guys. And then this is the other one too. There's a QR code to scan. And then also here's the link if you want to go to the petition, QR code, change.org/Haley's uh, hyphen law, right? So, or dash, and then that's where you sign the petition. Pink alerts, right? Expanding our emergency systems to alert the public for missing persons and children when the amber alert or silver alert criteria aren't met, right? So that's pretty much everyone else. And I think that that's a great idea. We need that because it's better to be safe than sorry. And I don't mind if I'm getting um, an alert on my phone. That's fine with me. I think a lot of people would be okay with it. I don't know if they don't want to wear people out or what the deal is, but I think it's important. I think we really need to implement this. And then online predator awareness, an education mandate in Indiana schools to protect students from online grooming, digital manipulation, and coercive tactics, right? Because if you know what you're looking for, then, there you go. And this is in honor of Haley Page Busby. We call on Indiana General Assembly to pass the Comprehensive Safety Package, otherwise known as Haley's Law. I would like to see how to get that passed in other areas as well. And we get weather alerts. We get all these different alerts. And why not get an alert when there's a missing person, a missing child? 17, definitely still a child. So, yeah, I don't know how to put the QR code on except for this one, Shauna, just the learn more one. Um, I'm gonna see if I can't take a picture of it and just upload that because I was thinking about that too. I don't know if that one will work because it's kind of on a slant. So, um, but yeah, yeah, Chuchi, it's just and it's all the kids. It's even boys, girls, just everyone. They all need it. Um, Thanks, Chuchi. Thank you for encouraging the like, and thank you so much for the pink hearts, little Miss Sharon, Chuchi. I mean, Haley was a beautiful girl, and she was just taken advantage of. I'm sure she really liked this person, and I'm sure he looked better than when we see him now, like in all his scraggliness and greasiness. But it's a lot about coercive manipulation. It's about um, building trust. It's about um, making a victim feel like they're, so important when they're not feeling the greatest, right? And then there's a bond that's built. There's a lot that goes into it. And if we can just stop them from doing that, right where they're standing, that's the best thing that we can do for everyone. So I know Kiki, just beautiful, sweet girl. Everybody had good things to say about her. You know, Aw, thank you, Shauna. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think these things are so important, and I just think back to when we were kids, and it is such a different time. Um, it's just so different. Oh, did you? Okay, Detroit says I sent you an email on the update of the little girls in Cleveland. Sorry, it sent 10 times. It's okay. My email wouldn't work, and then it sent it over and over. Okay, so when I see the 10 emails, I know I can delete 9 of them. That's great, Detroit. Thank you. I can't believe that either. We just don't even know um, who these little girls are. And that's a great segue into this next case that I wanted to show you guys really quick before we get into Katie. So, this young lady, her name is Kylie Aurelio. Ugh, I know I'm saying that wrong. I know I'm saying it wrong, so I'm sorry, but she is missing, 16 years old, from Utah, right? She's just adorable. Like, she's so cute. Um, I do have a description that's a little closer. So let me grab it and so I can read it to you guys. Um, she's very tiny as well. She's not a big girl at all. And Her middle name is Olivia, so Kylie Olivia Ariano. I hope I'm saying that right. 15. She was last seen on, okay, so she must have turned 16. She was last seen on May 29th, 2025 in Garden City, Utah. Kylie was last seen in her front yard at 9:52 p.m. She was wearing her favorite jacket and holding her phone. Her jacket was found left in the yard and her phone was shut off at the exact time she disappeared. Very out of character, right? Especially for her to leave her favorite jacket behind. I agree. So it says, since that time, there have been no confirmed sightings. This is not a typical runaway case. Excuse me. Not a typical runaway case. Kylie is highly intelligent, but is at a risk, or she is an at risk youth. She had been communicating online with individuals in multiple states prior to her disappearance. Her phone has never been reactivated. So, again, this is another case, guys, where, this is a very pretty young lady, right? And I'm sure she got a lot of attention, and it was coming from someone who didn't have the best of intentions. And that's what it seems like maybe happened here. So she may have been lured, maybe in crisis or worse, at serious risk. It's now been 9 weeks since her disappearance. So since they made this flyer. So help bring Kylie home Facebook group exists. So definitely go over there and add to that. So this Rich County case number is 25-R308. She does have an NCIC number, which is M3784919294. She was 15 when she went missing on May 29th, 2025. She weighs 115 pounds and she's 5'6". She has brown chin length hair, brown eyes, and she does have braces. So she was wearing braces. She does have tattoos, several scars on her thighs and forearms. Oh, okay. Tattoos include a cross on her middle finger and the name Coda, Koda, on her right ankle. Okay, so very identifiable tattoos. One on her middle finger and the other on her right ankle. And it says Coda, Koda. Has been known to enjoy cosplay and may be wearing a black wig. The road warriors for the missing tip line is 816-648-0122. There's also private investigators Alan Robbins, and he can be reached at 801-864-8897, or Steve Fisher. But I'm just going to go ahead and not give that number out because all right. So, but there is another private investigator on the case. I'm glad that they do have private investigators on her case. All of these children deserve, and these people deserve to be found. So sad, right, Detroit? Hey, Babs. She's 16 now, missing from Garden City, Utah. So she must have had a birthday. So, absolutely sad. Um, and her mother is worried about her. She's looking for her. Um, so there's a picture of Kylie. If you see her or someone who looks like her, definitely reach out, call 911 immediately, and ask her if that's who she is. And hopefully they can come as soon as they can and follow up on that tip. Hey, Sasha Johnson, good to see you. So, yeah, very, very sad. And, I just want to make sure that we can push out more of these missing people as we're going along too, because it's just important to spread that awareness. Um, So tonight I do have something to present to you guys on Sebastian Rogers' case. So it's a 2-year mark of Katie Proudfoot. She did an interview with Holly Thompson, right, of WSMV4 News. And as soon as I was able to watch it, so I received a link for this interview and it was on YouTube. And then as soon as I was finished watching the 27-minute long interview and I posted it to my community wall, it was taken down and the link was no longer good. So I'd say it was up and live for about maybe 45 minutes at the most, in my opinion, right? So shout out to Mob Crew because he grabbed it up, right? And so that's how I'm able to play it today because I can usually download any videos from any source and bring them in, transform them, put music behind them, and edit um, the any of these videos that people put out. But um Arellano, thank you, Arellano. Oh, Kylie Arellano. Thank you, KJ. I appreciate that. I hate saying people's names wrong, you know. And I okay, so Justin got it too, Kiki. Yeah, so I know everyone was reviewing it. So I know a lot of people hurried up and downloaded it. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like some of the stuff that was said in there. And so I was kind of chatting with Jen about it. Well, then that's all when that happened because I usually watch these things by myself. I'm like sitting here watching it and like I'm cussing the TV. So, but this time I had someone to kind of bounce ideas off of, and I'm like, I did, but I didn't download it, but so what I did is I went ahead and pulled out all of Mob Crew's commentary, not because of any, ill intentions or anything, just because I wanted to be able to put commentary with it. And, I like to keep things true to context as much as I possibly can, because there's certain spots where I'd want to stop, then maybe he didn't want to stop, kind of a thing. So, that's what we've done here. And, I am going to go ahead and play this for you guys, and we will discuss everything here. All right, here we go.
So, Katie.
All right. So this interview aired on 2/26/26. Holly Thompson interviewed Katie Proudfoot, courtesy of the Mob Crew. And yeah, this look, I don't know about Holly Thompson. I don't really know what to say or think about her. I've never seen her cover another case, right? Um, so, hey, Shadow. I've just never seen her in action before. I know that she loves the softball questions, right? Just absolutely adores, being like Miss. Oh, hi. I mean, just I don't know. It's not my cup of tea, but
Thank you for coming to talk with me today to help bring Sebastian back to the forefront of people's minds. So here we are. It's now two years this week since Sebastian's disappearance. What feels...
I mean, Katie is so cold. Like she's like cold and just barren of any type of emotion. Norcal says Holly Thompson is a ridiculous interviewer, in my opinion. I can't help it. I'm just like, really? Am I really? Is this what I'm seeing right now? Type of a thing. Yeah, very fake. Okay, so that's it. Fake as folk. Yeah, okay, got it. Because, sometimes I'm watching her and I'm thinking, is she like killing her with kindness, being overly nice? Or is that how she is all the time? I don't have a frame of reference. I just know she's always like this with Katie. She treats her like a puppy dog, like, oh, hi, Katie. So, Shauna's not digging the interview. I mean, or I've never appreciated Holly Thompson. I felt like she always was asking leading questions and like she's kind of Katie's wingman, but that's just me.
Different about this anniversary than the first?
Well, first, I don't particularly consider it more of an anniversary because in my mind, an anniversary is something worth celebrating, and this is anything but that. Truthfully, every day hurts the same. I mean, it doesn't get any better. I know that there are many people out there that are still helping to share his flyer and whatnot. We continue to ask people to do that. We continue to ask people to just stay aware, keep aware of your surroundings, that type of thing. But as far as different, it's the same. It's the same pain. It's the same absence.
How has time changed the way that you cope with this loss right now?
Like I said, it doesn't really get easier for me, but I do have a lot of family, a lot of friends that are, I don't know how to, supportive seems like not the accurate description, but that are with us through this, that care about Sebastian as well. And
Okay, guys, so the only people that I can think of that Katie is referring to here are her cronies online, right? And she's saying they're people that care about Sebastian, but we just witnessed a 7-hour panel where they sat on her panel, on Queen Bee's panel, and talked about anything but Sebastian. No one was advocating for Sebastian, right? And as a matter of fact, at that time, Mob Crew and Silver's on the Scene were arranging for us to find out if the activity in the cemetery was linked to Sebastian's disappearance. And they were talking about grave robbers at that very time, right? And then we have their good friend Cluminati, who was just booted from YouTube, and I think that's really difficult to do. I don't know the ins and outs of what happened there. I don't care to know. I do believe in freedom of speech. So, I mean, it had to have been pretty bad for them to boot them. And I have heard some pretty bad things. I mean, I've heard Clue say that she was going to dox people over on Kick, and she's doxed people over here, and just bragging, I suppose, or whatever. But it did seem to humble her in some ways. I haven't listened. But again, these are the people that Katie's talking about are her support system, right? And she doesn't know what to call them, right? Because we all know what she uses them for. And that's to dox and go real life on people. And yeah, Queen Bee, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's just so many out there that they do that with. Um, Chuchi says every day hurts the same. Same of what, Katie? The same when you go on the trips. Yep, exactly. Same when you are not holding the gatherings for your own son, etc. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe they didn't do anything for the 2 year, right? Because they always talked about how, well, we don't want to do the vigils. That's too soon. That's for when we don't think someone's going to come back or for someone who's passed away. And they gave all these excuses for why they weren't doing anything for Sebastian. But now at 2 years, I mean, I would think if they didn't know where Sebastian was, they would be calling for their own gathering of voices to at least remember Sebastian, have a bike rally or ride for Sebastian because they're always, you know, portraying themselves as Harley Davidson fans. Why not do a ride? Why not do a ride? You know? Um, oh, jeez, Kiki. I can see people laughing. And the thing is about Katie is we don't see any worry lines whatsoever, right? We don't see her brows going down, um, her mouth. I mean, she's just very stoic, um, very stoic. So, it is irritating. It is. Yeah. The krama dramas. That's where she goes. That's the group that they go to. And I don't know if Holly Thompson is just completely unaware of this, right? Which she might be. There might be people that don't, watch this stuff. So I understand that. But you would think if she was investigating and she was the interviewer for Katie since day one and Chris, that she would know what they've been up to, you know? So Kick Clue shouldn't have been booted long ago, in my opinion. But maybe she got the 3 strikes. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, there was a lot of stuff that she would say that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they still let her," like, I mean, have the episode up or whatever, because I mean, there's a lot of things that we're not allowed to say, or if we do, they'll demonetize partly and different things like that, but she always kind of acts like, "Oh, I got so much money." And I'm like, "Well, good for you." But in the same way, it's like it's very off-putting, so Shauna says that's when I hopped on stage, then the live stopped shortly after. And I had that effect on Tex. I mean, she stopped right away. I was like, "Are you the green hoodie?" Stop the whole thing. Um, when were all those friends and family you claim to have and all their imaginary because you haven't seen or heard from anyone? None of the family members ever came out and really said much about Sebastian, have they? You know? It's interesting. Kiki says, "Lady, something I've been thinking out of the box studying CPS in Tennessee. If a child has had calls CPS of any emergency happenings allegedly, they can remove the child legally without other parent knowing, unfortunately." Really? But wouldn't they, I mean, wouldn't somebody know that Sebastian has been reported missing and the FBI is looking for him and things like that? That's the only thing that kind of stops. Then I think about CPS in Tennessee not having lots of room sending kids off to other states. Oh, I see what you're saying, Kiki. Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you guys for the green hearts. Very interesting. Yes. Yes. I do know what you're talking about, Shauna. Oh my goodness. We gotta do that. I love killing people with kindness though, because they get so out of sorts. Oh, and another thing I wanted to tell you guys that today when I was studying that video again that I did of BHBs, it was like a minute long and I pulled it out from the gathering of voices. I believe that that officer, because we had like there was poles and stuff around and people were hanging signs to the poles and taking them down at the end of the day, but they were kind of allowing for us to do that. Well, the one officer that was coming on the street and people were saying he flipped Seth off, well, he absolutely took and hit one of the signs, and I'm going to show it to you guys later. But I think they were so angry that we did so well, Shauna, because it was right after we did a prayer in the cake. And I mean, it was just like good vibes, good feeling. We actually had Seth smiling, a little bit. I mean, it's just got to be so hard. And, um, you know, he's had such a hard time, but it was nice for him to feel supported. And then that. popped off, you know, but it was because we were being so kind, and we were gathering the way that we're supposed to gather in situations like that, and just, you know, be a good example. So, but here's Miss Katie again.
You know, unfortunately, we do still have to get up and we do still have to go day by day. But every day is praying, is hoping, is searching, is asking anyone that we meet, you know, to share his flyer, to know about him, and hopefully find him, find Sebastian.
Describe what it's like to live with so much uncertainty, trying to figure out where he is, if he's okay.
Awful. It's horrible, honestly. I don't have a way of knowing if he is okay, of knowing if Sebastian is safe, of if he's being cared for, and where he is. And it's something that I don't think that I will ever be okay or be used to until we get answers, until we find him, because that, the best way I can describe it is a gaping hole in my heart and in my home and in my family.
In your mama's heart, do you see him coming home? That he's okay, he's alive, he's returning?
I do. And that honestly keeps me going every day. The thought of knowing that my son is out there somewhere, and that none of us are going to stop searching until we find him and bring him home. But the thing that really and truly keeps me going every day is knowing that one day we are going to find Sebastian and we're going to bring him home one way or another.
What's your level of hope right now?
Truthfully, it's hard to keep hopeful when it's been so long without answers. But like I said, I won't let that hope go. I refuse to let that hope go, and I refuse to stop believing that he is out there and that he is going to come home. And I just pray to God that he's looking over him and that he's keeping him safe until we can find him.
Let's remind our viewers, remind folks about Sebastian, about who he really is, not just this case, but about him.
Oh, Sebastian.
Okay, this is where she starts looking up, and I mean, she did this in the 1-year anniversary video, or however we want to put it. The 1-year interview when Sebastian had been missing for 1 year straight. She starts looking up. And she does that when she says, I pray, you know? So, I mean, it's very odd that she does these behaviors, and they're involuntary, in my opinion. It's an absolute puff piece, Sandy. I agree. It's a puff piece. As little Miss Sharon said earlier, you know, she'd be a good kindergarten teacher, right? Because she's talking to Katie like, you know, like a little cute little kid or a puppy. You know, I mean, I talk to my dog like that. So, you know, I mean, it's very bizarre. It's like living in the land of bizarro world, right? Because we have this beautiful young man, Sebastian. We all know he's missing. We all know that Katie knows more. Holly Thompson has to know that. If she doesn't, she is a Pollyanna, in my opinion. You know, she's a Pollyanna. Oh, everything's rainbows and sunshine. I wear my rose-colored glasses. You know, it's either delusion or it's deliberate, in my opinion, with Holly Thompson. Because this is insane, and I would never want to tarnish my reputation again for Chris and Katie Proudfoot, especially when she can't get it right. After 2 years, you would think she would get it right. NorCal SoGal says if she really takes flyers everywhere she goes, Sumner County should be plastered with them. I call BS. And they're absolutely not plastered with them. They just aren't. The signs are not up. You know, you can drive around town and there's no signs. I mean, It's sad, because Sebastian deserves that awareness around all the time. If we make it so they can't get away from it, then it's glaring them in the face. Maybe somebody might say something. Sandy says, what type of monster can sit there and actually believe what she's telling herself? She does believe her own lies, in my opinion. Oh yeah, she does that too, little Miss Sharon. Holly leading KP to say the right thing. Yep, she does. She does. It's just it's annoying, Detroit. It really is. Lover girl, good to see you. Lover girl says there's photos of her just or there are photos of her doing all kinds of things and never handing flyers or searching. She's full of it. Yeah, I agree. I agree. She's a horrific liar, Shauna. She can't hide it. Her face skills are on point. And I mean, she is like thinking, reminiscing, and I can understand Sebastian. And again, I put his picture up in the background because they failed to. I mean, Katie wore it on her t-shirt, but they're not showing her t-shirt. It's the strangest thing ever. Again, I don't understand the logic. I don't think they're using any, and that's why I can't find any. It's a big facade, and she does laugh. And I mean, I can see her thinking back about Sebastian fondly, in that regard. But in the same way, it's just the way she looks up. And it's like she's looking up to the heavens or something. And it's very strange. Um, Exactly. What a dingbat. Well, I know, and I mean, yeah, this should be emotional, it should be difficult. We should feel something here, but we don't. We're like it's ridiculousness all the way around. Chuchi Sleuth says, "Find Sebastian." Katie, you're saying find Sebastian, but what are you doing, bro? Help find him. That's right, Chuchi. Seth, in my eyes, is doing way more to bring his son home. Please stop with the BS, Katie. In my opinion, it is very hard to watch. It really is, and I've watched this interview now like 5 times. Um, just editing it and things like that. And every time I watch it, it just infuriates me more than the first time. The first time I was just kind of shocked because it was all the same stuff, and there was a couple times where she added in, anecdotes that she brought into Queen Bee's panel, but she's saying something completely different, right? Um, it's just bizarre. Kiki says, in my opinion, she knew where he was going. In my opinion, Sebastian didn't want to go wherever, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, there was something going on at dinner, and I don't know if he was being, oh, well, I think, I will say, I think he was being scolded. I do. I don't know if maybe she was telling him, you're going to go here, you're going to do this. It looked like she was telling him that he was going to go somewhere. I mean, it does. And then it also looks like he was in trouble. And, they kept saying, you're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. NorCal SoGal says, I think Holly is a fake as KP, but I think she's a softball to keep KP talking. Yeah. And I mean, I guess she would have to placate Katie, because if she doesn't, then she's going to lose out on the interview. Hey, Cinderella. They're both just checking a box, in my opinion. Very true, Valley Gal. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's good to see you too. They like her being interviewed by this lady because she won't ask her any real questions. Yeah, and I mean, how would you like it if your husband was breathing down your neck and then coughing in the background? Like, I would tell him to take a hike. I'm not joking either. I'm not trying to be like a mean or anything. But honestly, if I'm doing an interview and I'm nervous, the last thing I need is you breathing down my neck, coughing. I mean, especially if you're not going to come on camera, because then now everybody knows you're there. And then we're all speculating on it. But they don't want anybody to speculate. I mean, heaven forbid if we have an opinion over this crazy BS. So. Cinderella, they treated Sebastian so badly. And they're still treating him badly. They're lying on him. You know? Shadow, I did see that in Mobs. He said you could turn this almost into a drinking game, right? Flyers, 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 flyers. She does say flyers a bunch of times, right? And she also says honestly, truly, to be honest, she uses past tense in the wrong way. She does a lot of the same old Katie BS. But yeah, I mean, she thinks that she's doing a good job by talking about the flyers, the flyers, the flyers. But really, that's not the only way to spread awareness. That's not the only thing she could be doing, you know? Yeah, that's right. Wash, rinse, repeat. Exactly. Exactly, Detroit. And any of us, we all identify it, and just so easily. You know, we just do. Aw, thank you, Shauna. You guys are awesome. Thanks, Chuchi. I mean, it's crazy. SI officer says, and her face is so flushed as if, in my opinion, she knows we know she's lying. She's on display, her facade. Yeah, okay, so and I think that Katie probably has like rosacea, because her face does get splotchy red, right? And that's not to shame her about that or anything. We all kind of have things, about us that are different, right? So not at all, but I think it is coming out in her facial expressions, and then with that as well, because some people get nervous and that happens, and I think that is showing her nerves, most definitely, most definitely. And again, looking up, that's something that I don't think that she can control, and I don't think she realizes she's doing it until she watches herself back. And I think that's why she's always trying to remain so stoic. um Yeah, she does feel comfortable. I agree, NorCal SoGal, but she is absolutely avoiding eye contact with Holly. I mean, and then when she thinks that she's duping Holly, she has duper's delight. She absolutely does, you know. She says she's going to keep it up till her last breath, but she also shakes her head no when she says it, SI officer. So she's giving an affirmative answer, and then she is shaking her head in a negative manner no. So I mean, and the thing is that we're hardwired to tell the truth. So our brain is going to tell on us without us, knowing. It just happens. It happens. Um, to all of us. We're all like that. That's why we can identify it. Oh, Shauna, thank you so much. That is so sweet of you. Thank you. Oh, how sweet. Guys, I was listening the other day and somebody said like YouTube takes like 45% or something weird. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." You know? Terrible. Little Miss Sharon, thank you. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah, because of course we're talking about Miss KK over here. Heaven forbid. Michelle says, to me, in my opinion, it looked like either or conversation that wasn't in Sebastian's best interest. Oh, that's interesting, Michelle. I can see that too. He definitely looked uncomfortable, and I think that was one thing that was really bothering me is that Sebastian looked so uncomfortable, like he just wanted to melt into the booth, and for her to make him feel that way, and especially after he was disappointed, you know? Aw, thank you, Shauna. Thank you so much. Yeah, I want to definitely keep. I wonder if they're going to make Haley's trial visible to, well, because it's federal. I don't think they will. I'm just glad they nabbed that guy. I just really am, and I'm glad that he, was able to at least show them where Haley was. I don't see how he can say that he didn't have anything to do with it. Um, No, NorCal SoGal says even if Holly isn't aware of all that CP, all of his rants and escapades on the YouTube channels, she's got to read the comments on WSMV4 page. Well, and I mean, I'm surprised that people don't send it to her. Like, I don't know if she's got a public email, but I'm surprised people don't like send it to her. And escapades and rants is the best way to say what Chris does, because like he's either acting a fool or he's ranting and just being completely psychotic, right? But then sometimes he tries to be cool, fun Chris, and it just fails miserably either way. It's such a bad look either way, you know? And all they have to do is go out and spread awareness and have a vigil. Like, would it kill them to do that? Because I think a lot of people would soften up to them, but they just refuse, right? Because it's not something they're interested in doing. But I think the big question is why? Why are they not looking to spread awareness about Sebastian? You know? Lady wasn't it said that the lady attends the BS church. Yes, I did hear that Freedom Church, and Holly was saying to everyone that her whole congregation was praying for Sebastian, but many churches in the area were. You know, we had Long Hollow Baptist. They were like kind of like a hub for snacks and then they did like the lunch for the searchers and things like that. So, I mean, they were so heavily involved. Many of the churches were holding independent vigils and prayer gatherings for Sebastian, and just incorporating him into their service and everything. You know, in the first week they were doing that. So, wasn't Holly that was somehow associated with the missing kid that's found deceased under the truck in his dad's garage? Allegedly, she was friends with his dad. That's all alleged, though. I have not found any type of um, confirmation, but that's the word on the street, Sammy. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's true, but I can see it being true because of the affiliations, you know, and then people knowing each other through, um, you know, being a journalist. So, and that's what she tells people, Sandy. She absolutely took the magnets off of her car. But yeah, I can't forget that either. That she also passes the baby Jesus out with each flyer. But here she's acting with Holly Thompson like she's just like, "Oh, I pray and oh, I'm this and this." And it's like, but when you're on the internet, you make fun of and say, you know, at the very least sacrilegious comments, right? I mean, I'm not expecting everybody to believe what I believe, but Katie is like flip-flopping, right? Kind of like her accent. Um, so yeah, the red comes out when like when she's anxious. Yeah, because of her anxiety. I think so too. I do. I think she's absolutely nervous. But I'd be nervous too if like someone was right there behind me, you know, if Chris Proudfoot of all people was right there behind me, you know. Um well, that's true. That is very true. It's a way to pacify herself looking up and the weird chuckles. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's absolute nerves. And I mean, I would be nervous too. I would be nervous too. All right, guys, I'm just going to back this up just a little, just a tad bit.
Who he really is, not just this case, but about him.
Oh, Sebastian is 15 when he went missing, 17 now. But he has just this beautiful smile. I mean, he's just got a big grin, and he's got a goofy sense of humor, and he loves.
Oh, sorry, guys. I don't mean to keep stopping it, but when she looks down here, Katie is absolutely looking down at her shirt, and I don't know why they didn't take the time to open the camera view up so they could see her shirt, because she was saying, you know, he's got this great grin, and Sebastian is on her shirt with a big smile on his face, right? So again, it's just very bizarre that they didn't do that.
Has just this beautiful smile. I mean,
see, she looked down at her shirt, and they didn't show him, so I put him up here right here. because he does have a beautiful smile that we can agree on.
He's just got a big grin, and he's got a goofy sense of humor, and he loves being helpful, and he enjoys playing video games and building things. I think one of the most recent things we did was that crane that I had shown a while back, but we loved making those little projects, like the Lowe's and Home Depot projects and building. And
really quick, guys, I wanted to show you what Katie is referring to here, and I had it up on the background, so you're just gonna see it on the background when I take this down really quick and move my big head out of the way. So the crane that she's kind of playing with, and this was in Chronicles of Olivia, and also it was in the America's Most Wanted. They brought it with them there too. So that's what she's talking about. Like, I think it's a Lego crane. And Cinderella, thank you so much for your $5 super chat. She says it's not a lot for all you do. Oh, thank you. I so appreciate it though. Oh, Cinderella, thank you so very, very much. So yeah, guys, that's the one she's talking about, and she was saying a lot of times on different panels that they would, build things together like that, but why wouldn't they build something that Sebastian liked? Why would they build a crane? Although I do know that he liked to operate the heavy machinery. So, maybe he did enjoy that. It just always seems kind of centered around what Chris likes instead of what Sebastian likes. Let's impress Chris, let's get his approval. And, that does come with the territory with narcissists. It's hard to get their approval. KJ says even Christopher Andrew Proudfoot's initials CAP mean lie in modern slang. Really? I had no idea. Oh my goodness, that's funny. That's a fun fact, like spaghetti pancakes. Thanks, KJ. I was asking about the interviewer, maybe friends with the Bowerstocks through church, hence the reason for a reason of her being soft to KP. I think, in my opinion, says SA officer, yeah, I can see that. I can absolutely see that because there's a lot of connections, being made, and she does have a lot in terms of who's friends with who. And Chuchi, she absolutely does have a lot of accents with her personalities. Oh, little Miss Sharon, thank you so much for gifting a Lady Freedom's Raw Narratives membership. If you got a membership from little Miss Sharon, please say thank you and welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Aw, thanks, little Miss Sharon. Sammy says, big grin, that was goofy, and they never took pictures of him. Do you remember them saying that in the beginning? I sure do. I was so surprised to hear them say that because all the pictures that I saw of Sebastian were so cute, I mean, he just looked adorable in all of his pictures. And, it makes me wonder if that's why he was so worried about looking handsome for his pictures, so maybe he could bring one home to his mom and they wouldn't call him goofy or something. I think about those things, Sammy, because it does break my heart. I mean, Sebastian deserved to be, to feel confident, and especially at home. Kids get enough of that crap out in the real world, let alone to get it at home. Um, yeah, her shirt and saying the grin is weird. I just can't believe they didn't pan out, Shauna. Like, it's weird that they didn't pan out and show her shirt. They only show it at the end for like maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and then the interview's over with. So that's why I took a screenshot of that part and put it in the video because I'm like, here, we'll show her shirt this way. And it doesn't even say his name. Like, they didn't even show his name for the most part. They had it cropped in. It just says missing child. Yeah, missing child, I believe. So totally weird.
he would always get so excited swinging the hammer, or even so far as building a deck with his stepdad, and being just so proud of himself for those little accomplishments and making something. typical teenager, though. I mean, he had his days where he was just grumpy and leave me alone and being in his room. But for the most part, he wanted to be a social butterfly. Sometimes he'd struggle making friends with like personal space and things like that. But overall, he is just usually a very happy young man, and he loves animals. Cats particularly are his favorite animal in the world. Green is his favorite color, and he loved getting out and doing things with us, going bowling and going out. We used to go hiking a lot, and we'd hike to, like when we lived in California, there were waterfalls and whatnot that we used to go hiking to. And he would get so excited at the end, just we'd make little videos showing how far we'd come and whatnot. But just a good kid overall.
What do you miss most about not having him around?
Oh, God, everything. I miss his smile. I miss telling him to get up in the morning for school and him going, Mom. I miss him making his little jokes. I miss watching him.
And guys, I just don't see how she can make a joke about something like that when the last time she went to go wake her son up, she says he wasn't there. That would be wholly traumatizing for me. I mean, even to think about it, let alone to joke about it, because the last time you saw your son, you went to go wake him up, right? He went to bed and then you woke up, you went to wake him up for school and he was missing, right, Katie? That's the story that you want us to believe. But now you're making a joke out of it, right? Interesting.
I miss him making his little jokes. I miss watching him run around with I miss his smile. I miss telling him to get up in the morning for school and him going, Mom. I miss him making his little jokes. I miss watching him run around with the dogs. I miss all of it, the good, the bad. I miss everything about my son.
Okay. Jeez, this face. Okay. So, that now this is where you guys are like, she's so fake. And I think that that's where I'm getting the fakeness too, with Holly. I was wondering the same thing, Detroit. What deck did they build? Because they don't have a deck in their backyard. So, and I know SI officer, he did love helping. That's one thing they've always said, right? Is that he loves helping. He loves cats, right? And that they got rid of his cats. And Chris was bragging about it. Yeah, I told them they had to get rid of the cats, and they did. And Sebastian never forgave me for it. Unbelievable. And I do think that too, SI officer. And I remember Seth saying that because even Shauna was saying, those projects that she's talking about are for littler kids, right? They're for like 5-year-olds, little kids. Sebastian was way more advanced than they're making him out to be. And I do remember Seth saying that when Sebastian was younger, he used to like to play with shiny pennies and, paper clips and stuff like that. And then also with the growling, when they were saying, oh, he would growl when he'd get angry. Well, that was something that he grew out of, and they were referring to him being that way to this day, or, well, back in March of 24 when they interviewed with Olivia. I know, and that's the thing. I mean, she's saying now he's got friends, or he's a friend. He can't wait to get, back together with his friends. His friends miss him. But in the beginning, they were saying he wants friends, but he doesn't have friends, and he was asking for friends for Christmas. We do know that Sebastian did have friends. It was just that he didn't have very many in that neighborhood. Right? It's not like he was out there playing with all the kids. He was isolated at Chris and Katie's, in my opinion. Overall, she does say that too. She does say overall, and she does say for the most part. That is one of Katie's phrases for the most part. For the most part, she likes to say that, you know. She's so nonchalant, love a girl, and she is using the wrong tenses. She is. I know, mom. NorCal. But she said the same thing on Queen Bee, right? She said that Sebastian, whenever she goes to smother him with kisses, he says, "Mom," right? But now she's saying it. He says that whenever she wakes him up for school. And then Holly Thompson has no choice but to sit there and look in adoration at a mother that most likely knows where her son is, who's missing. It's got to be so bizarre, you know? Yeah, I mean, I would be traumatized. I would, Shauna. You know, I mean, that would trigger my emotions to start crying. Like, I just miss waking him up for school. Like, but she didn't say that. She's joking around and, you know, very cold. I mean, she's just, oh gosh. I don't think they got rid of the Morkies, but I don't think the Morkies were his. I don't even think one of them was because, again, on Queen Bee, on that same panel that I was talking about just now, Katie also says, or excuse me, Chris also says that when they got the dogs, one was supposed to be his and one was supposed to be Katie's. Right? Because I'm sure Sebastian wasn't worthy of having pets because he didn't take care of his snake. You know, and I don't know when exactly they got the Morkies, but it's not like he was about to take one of those puppies to his dad's house when he went. Those were Chris and Katie's dogs. So I think that's the only reason the Morkies are still there to you know, be a part of the family, so to speak. Hello, Pamela, good to see you. But he was not given the opportunity to associate in any setting but with what UNCP allowed. In my opinion, I agree with that, Pamela. You know, and that's what's sad. That's what's really, really sad is that his only fun times were when he was at his dad's house, you know, and they would go play Magic or they would go play Dungeons and Dragons or he could play video games with his friends there. Um, totally sad. Shauna says, "You guys, Sebastian has a brilliant mind," and I believe he does as well, Shauna. I mean, I can't remember half of the rules and strategies and what the cards mean when it comes to the games that Sebastian was playing. You know, I'm a mediocre chess player at best. I do like it. It's fun. But it's definitely a strategic, difficult game that takes concentration and you have to learn to be very smart and outsmart your opponent type of a thing. So yeah, it's just, ugh, you know. Well, they didn't keep their golden doodles very long. Yes, everything is easily disposable for Mr. Chris. Right. And I mean, heaven forbid the dogs aren't hypoallergenic because otherwise, you know, those poor babies are getting the boot, you know. I believe that too, NorCal SoGal, very well put. And they treat Sebastian the same, unfortunately.
What would you say to him if he were to walk through that door?
I would tell him that we love you. I would tell him that we miss you so very much. I would tell him to stay strong. I would tell him to hang in there, and that if he ever had the opportunity to reach out and get a safe adult and, you know, call 911 if you have to, that we're looking and we're never going to stop looking, and that I pray that he's okay, and that everyone at home loves you, Sebastian, and everyone wants you to come home, and we're here.
How long will you keep searching?
Until my last breath. I'll never stop. I'll never stop searching for him.
I feel like as a parent, a lot of times we have these other, you know, intuitions, just different thoughts and feelings about what's going on. Do you have anything in your innermost thoughts that you think happened to him?
Truthfully, I think that there are different options based off of what we know and what we don't know. More particularly, what we don't know is what makes it more difficult to do that. But all I can say is that I feel like he is out there, and that is my main hope. That him being out there means that he's alive and that he can come home when we find him.
I want to talk a little bit about the latest with the investigation. So have there been any tips at all that have given you hope over this last year?
There's been several times where I've gotten my hopes up, but I know that law enforcement is still working on Sebastian's case. I know that they are still taking any tips or leads that anyone can call in. But unfortunately, none have been significant enough to help us find Sebastian yet. So my plea would be that if anyone knows or sees something, to please call it in, and call it into legitimate law enforcement, the TBI find, the sheriff's office, but don't wait.
Okay, Katie, I think you need to take your own advice there, buddy, because you're the one that holds the key. Hey, Kylie's nail candy, good to see you. Thanks for being here. And you know, Detroit, that we went over that last night too, just that small clip from hindsight where she caught this right here, or her and BMW caught this. You know, where Katie was asked, what would you do if he walked back through the door? And she's saying what she would say if Sebastian was watching. Right? So she's not paying attention. And the thing is that Holly Thompson doesn't even, you know, cut that and then redirect the question again to her. It's just like she just is fine with it. And I don't know, it's very weird, because you would think that Holly Thompson would have said, okay, cut for a second, guys. Hey, Katie, I'm sorry you misunderstood the question. And then had her to do a second take on that, right? But maybe she's just going with the flow and letting Katie put her foot in her mouth, you know? Those are the two things that I can think of that could be contributing to this mess we're watching, you know, and the messes that we've watched in the past. She does say truthfully too much, in my opinion, deception. Yeah, she's trying to convince us, you know. Katie is always trying to convince us that she's being truthful, honest, right? To be honest, honestly, truthfully, truly, right? Yeah. And Shauna says, when she said last breath, there was something sincere there. Anyone catch that? Or my eyes playing tricks? Play that back, lady. Okay, so where she says, okay, let me go ahead to the last breath. Yeah, because I did see a little bit of that as well. I mean, she shook her head during that as well. Let me just go back just a tad more.
I know that law enforcement is still working on Sebastian's case. I know that they are still taking any tips or leads that they have.
I want to talk a little bit about the latest with the investigation. So have there been any tips at all that have given you hope over this last year?
Are different options based off of what we know and what we don't know. More particularly, what we don't know is what makes it more difficult to do that. But all I can say is that I feel like he is out there, and that is my main hope. That him being out there means that he's alive and that he can come home when we find him.
I want to talk a little bit about the latest with the investigation. So have there been any tips?
I think it was after this. I'm pretty sure it was after this, or maybe it was before. Let's see. Was it before that? I think it's coming up here.
At all that have given you hope over this last year? There's been several times where I've gotten my hopes up, but
I know that law enforcement is still working on Sebastian's case. I know that they are still taking any tips or leads that anyone can call in. But unfortunately, none have been significant enough to help us find Sebastian yet. So my plea would be that if anyone knows or sees something, to please call it in, and call it into legitimate law enforcement, the TBI find, the sheriff's office, but don't wait, because I know that some people, they would wait, and you can't follow up on something that you don't know you need to follow up on. So that's my ask of anyone and everyone is call it in, but right away.
Here we are 2 years later and still nothing. So as his mom, how does that make you feel?
Broken. I don't, no one should be living this life, no one. And I know that there are other moms that are going through this with so many missing children, and since Sebastian's gone missing, I've become aware of so many of them, and it made me realize how much people just overlook these kinds of situations. You know, you see Sebastian or any of the missing kids, and it's only a fleeting thought, and going through my son missing has really opened my eyes and really made me aware of how oblivious we can be. And so it's really made me try to get more people out there to do more than just glance at the flyer, but to actually take 10 seconds to actually look and to actually pay attention, and just to, I don't know, like when you're out and you're walking, just take half an eye out to have that awareness of who you're seeing, because any one of these children, including Sebastian, I mean, you could walk by him. And my prayer is that if that happens, that you recognize him, and that you know, and that call will come in so that we can find him and all the missing kids.
What was the last update that you received from investigators?
Unfortunately, the updates that we receive are about the same as the public, that they do still get tips and that they do follow up on them. But unfortunately, there's nothing significant to report at this point that we know of. I mean, I know that we don't know everything, but my prayer is that if something significant comes in, that we would know right away.
We know the FBI is offering this $50,000 or up to $50,000 for information now leading to Sebastian's whereabouts. So do you feel that more needs to be offered, or something else needs to be done for someone to come forward?
I would hope that it wouldn't take money for someone to come forward in something like this. I'm grateful for the FBI offering that $50,000 reward. I would give anything to have Sebastian home, and unfortunately, I think $50,000 should have been, if someone knew something, should have been a very big incentive. But I mean, put $1 million up.
Yeah, so weird, right, guys? So I found that timestamp. Let me go back to 8:13 really quick. We're at 13:57, but 8:13 is where she says that. So I'm gonna go back to about 8:08. And there's some Duper's Delight for you. Thanks, Shauna. We see a little Duper's Delight with Katie there that I forgot to point out earlier.
How long will you keep searching?
Until my last breath, I'll never stop.
Huh. And she was saying never stop. She's shaking her head no. So I can understand why she would do that. Let's slow jam it a little bit to maybe 80% or 80, excuse me. 2.
How long will you keep searching?
Until my last breath, I'll never stop. I'll never stop searching for him.
Wow, and she does look at Holly Thompson square in the eyes, it looks like. It does look like that. But I also wanted to go just back maybe to, let's try 801 and see what they said before that.
And we're here.
Oh, that was after she answered the question the wrong way. Wow, look at that. Interesting.
How long will you keep searching?
Until my last breath, I'll never stop. I'll never stop searching for him.
Wow. Thanks, Shauna, because yeah, that's interesting when we slow it down and go back like that. It's like, okay. Yeah, really interesting. And usually when people do that kind of thing when they're with their lips like that, that's an indication of deception typically. And then we were at 1357, I believe.
I know that his Amber Alert is still active as well. But I would like to think that there are people out there with God in their hearts that wouldn't need an incentive to return my son home. But if there were, if you need something, ask. Just send him home.
If someone is out there watching and they know something, they've just chosen to remain silent, or maybe they've made a discovery, what do you want to say to them right now?
Turn it in, call it in, give my son the opportunity to come home to his family and to his life and his future. And if there's anything holding you back, don't let it, because Sebastian he's a person, and he is a son and a friend and a grandson and a nephew and a cousin, and he deserves to be home. So if there's any reason that someone wouldn't allow that to happen, I can't think of a reason why someone wouldn't do that. So if you know something, say something.
Interesting. And this idea of home deserves to be home. But Sebastian has two homes, right? He's got a home with his father. He's got a home with Chris and Katie, arguably. But, just for all intents and purposes of the conversation, if I'm Katie, I'm thinking he has two homes, right? I mean, that's the reality of a divorce, a co-parenting situation. Your child has a home at your, ex-husband or, father of your child, mother of your children. They have a home at your home. So this concept that Katie keeps bringing up, him to come home. It's just very odd that she says that over and over, just like the flyers, over and over. And Lover Girl, I agree. It's so clear she's just BSing these answers, no authenticity whatsoever. And I think that is a big red flag for most of us, that Katie is just so inauthentic in her responses that it's hard for us to relate. It is very hard for me to relate. So if he needs something, ask. That's bizarre, right? Yeah. And Sasha, she just puts her foot in her mouth, you know? Um, oh yeah, I know, Kiki. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? Hey Jenny Machete, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, so it's just another cringy interview with Katie, you know? Another cringy interview.
Do you think someone knows something and they're not saying it?
I pray that if someone knows something that they will call it in. And I don't know if anyone knows something, but if they do, I would plead to please turn it in.
Okay, so this is an awkward moment. And this is where I think Holly Thompson is absolutely struggling in this interview, right? So I'm just going to back this up just a little bit because Katie's saying, if you know something, say something. And then Holly's like, well, do you think somebody knows something? And Katie's like, well, if they did know something and they, but I don't know if they do, but if they do, I mean, it's very awkward. Again, let's kind of revisit that a little bit. Because I mean, she's struggling to find, any type of authentic response, but I also think that she's confused. Holly Thompson, that is.
Something. Say something.
Right?
Do you think someone knows something?
All right, hold on. Let me just back that up just a little bit more.
Give my son the opportunity to come home to his family and to his life and his future. And if there's anything holding you back, don't let it, because Sebastian is he's a person, and he is a son and a friend and a grandson and a nephew and a cousin, and he deserves to be home. So if there's any reason that someone wouldn't allow that to happen, I can't think of a reason why someone wouldn't do that. So if you know something, say something.
Do you think someone knows something and they're not saying it?
I pray that if someone knows something that they will call it in. And I don't know if anyone knows something, but if they do, I would plead to please turn it in.
If Sebastian was taken, because again, we don't know exactly what's happened. If he was taken, if he was abducted, what would you say to that person?
Give my son back. Bring him home. Why? What do you want? I would just say let him.
Okay, guys, again, I'm going to pause this and then I'm going to back it up a little bit because this is very strange to me. Holly Thompson, this is on regular speed, right? I did slow it down before, but we're back to regular speed or normal speed. Now, when Katie is asked this question, if Sebastian is with someone or if someone took Sebastian, what would you say to them? And she's just rapid fire. She's just rapid fire. Why? What? When? Stop. Like it's weird. And it's again, inauthentic. It's not something that you would expect to hear, right? And it might take a little bit of time to kind of work through something like that, right? Unless maybe she's thought about this before. But Katie acts like this isn't on her radar, right? She's always told us that Sebastian just walked off on his own. So it's like, well, what do you really believe here, Katie? Right? And that's even me playing devil's advocate and saying, okay, let's say that she didn't have anything to do with this. But even, look, nothing here. All of these bones are connected here. There's no grief. No grief whatsoever. Here, no grief here. Not in her chin. We don't see her chin going up, right? Like we were speaking about with Susan Constantine, right? Nothing. She has no emotion whatsoever. And unless she's Botox to, the gills, I don't know what to think, and the blink. The blinking. The blink rate is huge too, Shauna. And those are always things to look for when we're thinking about body language. because all of the experts bring that into play. That's how I know about it anyway. And hey, Faye, good to see you. Good morning. So, and I do think she's frustrated, NorCal SoGal, as we're going along. She's trying to be cordial, right? And then it's just kind of not working because the responses that Katie is giving, it doesn't make sense to a logical person, right? We can't apply logic to the illogical because it's just, it just doesn't fit. But this is just really interesting. Again.
Knows something, but if they do, I would plead to please turn it in.
All right, let me slow this down just a tad.
If Sebastian was taken, because again, we don't know exactly what's happened. If he was taken, if he was abducted, what would you say to that person?
Give my son back. Bring him home. Why? What do you want? I would just say let him go if someone had him. I mean, I don't have any evidence that that's the case, but if it is, let him come home. Let him come home to his family.
What do you see as Sebastian's future?
If we bring him home, I see a period of everyone just bombarding him with love and welcoming him home. And I would like to think that once Sebastian comes home and transitions back into his life, that he can finish school, he can make friends, he can grow up. I mean, 17 is so close to being an adult, but I want to see him happy. I want to see him successful in his own way. I want to see him grow into the young man that I picture him becoming and finding his version of happiness and success in life, whatever that is. I would support it.
He's 17 now. What are some of the biggest milestones that you've missed?
He missed his mustache coming in. He was getting peach fuzz when he went missing, and he hated it. And one of the biggest things is he would say, "Mom, I don't want this hair on my face." And I would say, "Well, we can teach you how to shave it off." And he's like, "Well, I don't want to do that." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. You only have two choices. You have to let it grow or you have to cut it off." But I missed that. I missed his voice finishing changing. I missed his junior prom. I missed his birthdays, him becoming a young man. Everything about this age that is supposed to be celebrated, and the good and the hard times, and I've just missed all of it. His voice was cracking and starting to change when he went missing, and so one of my biggest fears is that I could hear him speak and not necessarily know it, although I know in my heart I would recognize my son without question. But it's just one of those things that I should have been there for, and he should have been home for, and he should have had guidance and celebration. And
okay, so this is where Katie really screws it up, in my opinion, right? She just really screws the pooch, and I mean, there's just no coming back from this, right? So they're talking about, all right, so again, we can put ourselves in Katie's position. Someone asking us, our child's been missing for 2 years, and someone's asking us a very tough question. In my opinion, it would be tough for me to answer this question. Tell me some of the things that you feel like you've missed out on in the last 2 years. This is her cue to cry, at least, or feign some sort of grief, right? Because that would be heartbreaking to know that you might not even recognize your own son's voice. But then she's like, "Oh, but I'm a mom and my mom's heart." I mean, this mom's heart shit really pisses me off too, Detroit. I mean, I see you in the comments, because it's maddening to know that Katie is acting so nonchalant, so shockingly cavalier when it comes to a very tough question that should trigger some sort of emotion, some sort of anything, but instead she's just jovial almost. It's extremely odd behavior. And I don't know, and it seems like Holly's egging her on, you know? And he should have had guidance. I should have been there, she says. Really? You should have been there, Katie? I mean, that sounds like regret, but not like you would think. It's not that hard regret. Good night, Kiki. Yes, give me a call tomorrow. So, yeah, I mean, unbelievable. I have a minor in ABA, applied behavioral analysis. Shauna says, and she's a damn fail. Keep talking, KP. I know. I mean, that's the thing. It's so obvious. I mean, and thank you for lending your expertise because, for many of us, we just know that something's not right. We're like, this is completely off. And it's really hard to believe that she's trying to pass this off as normal behavior because it just anything but. That would be one of the toughest questions, right? Other than maybe if someone has your child, right? Because then your brain is going there. That question is forcing your brain to go to a place where it's not going to be a pleasant thing, right? I mean, usually people don't take kids so they can, nurture and love them and do the right thing by them. They're usually taking these children to hurt them or to use them for whatever horrible purposes. So, I mean, it would be horrifying, right? I mean, I would be mortified to even have to sit here and answer these questions. And Katie is just like a walk in the park. When you memorize something word for word, it's harder to correct when you mess up. Well, that's true, Sammy. Good point. That is a good point. And I think she is trying to stick to the script, just one of those things, Sasha, um, it's hard to watch the whole thing because it's like, how are people not seeing this? I know it takes more, but get her in a room and interrogate this woman, she will crack. I've felt like that since day one. Shauna, I just felt like if they would have gotten her alone without Chris, right? Because he's back there. You know, they would have been able to get some information out of Katie. At the very least, she would have implicated herself enough for them to at least use that as leverage to find where Sebastian is or what had happened. But instead, it's just gotten so out of hand. I would be weeping. I would be a weeping mess too, Detroit. I really would be, and it is sickening to watch Katie. The heart stuff, Jenny. I'm telling you. Oh, thank you for sharing your heart, says Holly Thompson. Well, how about we share a little bit of logic and reasoning too, though, while we're at it. I love the heart stuff. Don't get me wrong, but can we maybe just talk about Sebastian and where we can find him, what we can look out for? Um, but again, Katie can't let the cat out of the bag because, in my opinion, she knows. And just another human. Hello, thank you for being here. So it's very interesting, right? I know, right? We just know something's so off, Shauna. It's like we don't know what it's called technically, but we do know that it's not right. Well, and the thing is it's just so textbook that those things don't change. I mean, they just don't. You know, Shauna, it's like they're pretty much, I mean, I know they updated, things like the DSM-5. I don't know how many years ago they did that, but it was more recent than it was, long ago. But I mean, so that's a good thing, I suppose. But many times these are just patterns that have existed for so long, you know. Hello, Ann Brock. Good to see you. She's not normal, in my opinion, most like psychopath or dissociated. So Katie is an expert at dissociating from reality. She really is an expert at that. She's very good at doing that. And I know that that's part of, trauma response and everything. But I absolutely see it. Yeah, just another human says my gut told me something wasn't right from day one too. Could be wrong, but it feels weird. Well, I know, and that's the thing that's so hard is that, you know, we may not know what words to put with it, but we just know something is completely off. And especially as a parent or just as a human, like your screen name there, just another human. It's just a human response. And the fact that Katie is showing these behaviors and they're blatantly obvious to many of us, who are willing to admit it. I know some people don't want to, because there's a really heavy line drawn in the sand, but I think if we're analyzing for the sake of analyzing something, I think that we need to be honest, and true with what we're thinking.
You know, all those milestones.
Do you think enough is being done to find
things that I should have been there for, and he should have been home for, and he should have had guidance and celebration, and all those milestones.
Wow, that was weird. I guess I didn't catch that on the first take on all of those milestones. And then she makes that she kind of grinds her teeth back. I can't really put my finger on that facial expression.
Do you think enough is being done to find Sebastian?
I don't think it'll ever be enough until we bring him home. I don't think that there are enough people that know about him, and my goal is to increase that awareness as much as possible. I mean, like I said before, I know that law enforcement is working so hard on this case, and I just, if I had my way, I'd have everyone in the world looking for him, and I'd like to think he wouldn't be missing. And so, the only thing that I know to do is to keep pushing awareness and keep pushing people to know about him, and the more people that know, more people that might have an idea of somewhere that we could look, or something that maybe we didn't see, or anything, the more eyes the better. The more awareness can only help. And so, not just locally, but everywhere. And so that's why I really truly push everyone that I meet, and everyone, and especially if we go somewhere new or somewhere different, is to, I take the flyer, I take the bracelets, and I tell people about it, and then I ask anyone that's willing to pull his Amber Alert flyer or the official TBI flyer, and to just share it in any way. I ask people to post it in stores, in restaurants. I ask people on if they have a social media to share it, because one person shares it and then 50 people share it and then 50 more, and that's...
Yeah, that's not always how it works, Katie, but okay. So we have this concept of Katie trying to tell us that when she's away from home and she goes to different places, she is passing out Sebastian's flyer and taking bracelets with her. She does leave out the baby Jesus bit that she was making fun of and being a jerk about. But this is her way of trying to justify her leaving the house and saying, oh, I bring my flyers with me, I bring the bracelets with me. I don't believe that for a second. Another thing that Katie and Chris have done since day one is they wanted to take the attention away locally and drive it away to other places, right? And some people might say, well, she's just trying to get her son's flyer out to everyone in the United States. I can understand that part, and I'm not faulting her for that. But what I want to key in on and focus on is that she does not want awareness locally. We learned that from the Pig Fest. I mean, that was blatantly obvious, right? Even though they tried to act like, no, we're not all friends. No, we're not all in cahoots together. And then after the fact, we have a Duck Dynasty photo that surfaces that they posted themselves. Blatant disregard, and blatant gaslighting, right? But Katie has always wanted to push awareness out away from the local people in her area. And even more so, I believe that they are spreading around that Sebastian has been found, because that is part of why Seth was upset. Um, I mean, part of why at the gathering of voices, right? He was voicing his concerns that they had went out to dinner and someone was under the impression that Sebastian had been found, and that wasn't the first time, right? But it seems like they're trying to push that narrative, you know? And Shauna says it should be standard in these types of cases that the parents be given at a minimum the DSM-5, two, more so that the MMP 1-3, it should be standard. Well, and Katie never seems like she ever tried to educate herself on autism, right? But she likes to push the autism narrative. I wonder how much education she actually did on the rare chromosome deletion that Sebastian has, right? Or how much research may be out there or isn't out there, because it is rare. But I always was wondering about that too, because she's not the typical mom that I know of, that I'm familiar with, that has a child with autism. Because typically when your child's diagnosed with something, you're going to do all of the research and you are going to try everything to help accommodate and help your child through that, right? No matter what it is, even as minor, whatever minor issue it is, or a major issue, you would be doing major research. And it never seems like Katie wanted to do that. And it also seems like she never wanted to facilitate relationships and friendships that Sebastian would feel comfortable with. It seems like most of that was pushed onto Seth. Um, Not that he looked at it as a burden. I'm just saying that it just seems like Katie was oblivious and she wasn't that mom that was really trying to figure it all out and do what was right, you know, um, in my opinion. So, yeah, right, a simple psych test. Yeah, those stupid lie detector tests, they aren't even allowed, yet they can do a simple psych test, and those are admissible in court, and they're valuable to understand what's going on, right? Especially with these parents. And we know that Chris has had a psych evaluation, allegedly, and that he's also been ordered to take anger management classes, right? And that's what Chris was up to. Are there actually fires up everywhere in Hendersonville? No, just another human. There's not. No, no, there's not. Mm-mm. I've been there twice now, and I saw the flyer in their yard, or excuse me, the yard sign in their yard. But flyers up locally, no. And I was over at Warsham's. There's no flyer up there. Um, no, mm-mm. No, and the school took down their yard sign, which was sad to see because they did have one up. So, and Sammy says, yes, so many people think he's been found. Some at a store say they took his flyer down because he was found. I didn't see you're taking flyers into the face wax place. You would think she would. You would think she would, you know? Right, just another human. Exactly. She says, yes, do not mess with disability parents. They are resilient and knowledgeable, in my opinion. Right. And they're always trying to find new ways to help their children. Katie doesn't strike me as caring enough about that, right? To make sure that Sebastian was getting the proper therapies and things that he needed, or the socialization within his own neighborhood. And then if he likes a pool, why wouldn't they have a pool in their backyard? Many of their neighbors do. So it's just very odd. They never seem to want to facilitate Sebastian um, being a part of things, in my opinion.
That's all I know to do at this point.
Keep the hope alive and keep the word out there.
Yes.
Keep it going.
Keep his face and his name and anything that we can to encourage people to be aware and help him find.
This is your opportunity to address any of these people. Two different scenarios, because I know you were telling me earlier that there are lots of threats that come to you guys. Is there anything you want to say?
I would say that threats, lies, or misinformation is not helpful. I don't think that it does any good to help find Sebastian, and I would ask that people take a step back and consider that not everything you may hear is accurate or healthy. And I would ask that people look to legitimate sources for your information about the case and updates and whatnot. And I know that there's not much coming out because there's not much to come out. And I know that that doesn't necessarily keep people intrigued per se. But I would encourage that people look for legitimate information. And I know not only with my son, but many of these cases, it's like a telephone game. And I've even seen articles that are from legitimate sources that information even gets missed or misconstrued and is not always accurate. For example, like Sebastian's age when he went missing.
Okay, that's when we have Mr. Proudfoot coughing, and I added his cough from Chronicles of Olivia. And also, we're going to hear Katie tell about the telephone game. In my opinion, she's not really grasping the concept. She is, I guess, somewhat, but she's not really understanding it. So we'll go over that a little bit.
You know, I've seen places where that's inaccurate, and I know that it doesn't seem significant, but like I said, like the telephone game, you know, and one person hears one thing and says it to another person, and then by the time 10 or 12 people down the line, it's not even anywhere close to the truth. And so,
okay, so the telephone game is a game. Yeah, the hacking. Shauna, and the telephone game, what it is that, you start out with a phrase, right? So say you start out with a phrase that said, Jackie went to the store, right? And then you whisper it in the other person's ear, and by the time it gets to the end person, it's probably not going to be the same phrase, right? Because it's somebody telling somebody something else, and they're supposed to repeat that to the next person, the next person, the next person. It has nothing to do with the truth, Katie. Kind of like your interview here, right? Telephone game is for little kids, first of all. Second of all, it's not about the truth. It's about how a phrase can get misconstrued when it's being told from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. Nothing to do with the truth. The truth stays the same. The truth is not hard to remember. It's not the telephone game, Katie.
I would say that if you have anything that you're concerned with, if you have questions, to seek answers from legitimate sources. And I would say that Sebastian deserves better than nonsense. Sebastian deserves to have his face, his name, and his truth out there. And so, like I said, I would encourage everyone to help share his face, share his name, and no matter what your feelings or your thoughts are, that I still am grateful for any awareness that can be spread.
Okay, so you should be spreading that awareness too, Katie. Practice what you preach. Little Miss Sharon says her and CP played the telephone game on the morning Sebastian disappeared, in my opinion. I agree. And, I think it's very interesting how Chris said this in an interview back, in the beginning of this case, right? He talks about this telephone game. Telephone game. I do believe it was on Duchess, right? But now Katie's using it as part of her script because Chris isn't up there, right? So Chris is making sure she says it the right way, and he's hacking up along back there because he just can't stand the fact that he can't be up there at the center of attention, correcting Katie's every word, right? In my opinion. Good night, Chuchi. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, she barely does. And when she does get that duper's delight going, boy, she likes to make eye contact then, doesn't she? Because she feels like she got one over.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Tell me more about the bottom line, your message to the viewers that'll be watching this story, and they'll see some of this streaming online with this interview. What do you want to leave them with? What do you want to say to them?
Sebastian matters. Sebastian is the most important thing about Sebastian's case.
Okay, so Sebastian's not a thing. He's a person, right? But Katie is saying that Sebastian's the most important person. I'm guessing she meant to say. Sebastian's the most important person to remember in his missing case. His missing case is about him and finding him. But Katie is saying that while she's wearing a t-shirt of her missing son, but she doesn't show it until the end of the interview. And again, I'm confused and sick over this. Those are my emojis. Because it's ridiculous for her to say that, in my opinion, right? Lady, look up the California Raisins 90s telephone game. OMG, I'm laughing my ass off. It's not funny, but shit, you gotta laugh. No, I know. Well, because it's so ridiculous, and that's so funny. The California Raisins. Oh my gosh, I'll have to look that up. That is too funny. I'm picturing the California Raisins in my head though, because I know exactly who they are. I heard it through the grapevine, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Goodness. And that's the thing. Why wouldn't they show Sebastian, right? That would be another perfect time to pan over and say, this young man, his mother's wearing a shirt saying he's missing, and he is more important than online rumors, gossip, speculation, ill will towards either parent, whatever they're trying to convey here, which it seems like they are trying to convey that message. Why not pan out and show Sebastian's picture? Right? It makes no sense. It's very bizarre. Again, I don't know what's stopping them from showing Katie finally wearing Sebastian's t-shirt. And by the way, this t-shirt is brand new. Seth's t-shirts are worn because he actually wears them. And I'm just going to put it out there like that.
And that I don't want Sebastian to get lost in news stories because every day other things are coming out, and I know that it may not be everyone's top priority, but it's mine. It's Sebastian's family, and I would ask and pray that he not be forgotten, and that everyone even if you once a month share his flyer, just to help me help us keep his name and his face out there, because it's so easy to let it go to the back of your mind because you're going on about your lives. And I understand that life goes on. But for us, for Sebastian, we're in this limbo. And
For us, for Sebastian, we're in this limbo. So for all of you guys out there, just for clarification purposes, she's not talking about Limbo, the game with the stick where you have to try to get underneath there and you're listening to the music and they lower it, as everybody goes through. No, she's talking about Limbo, like stuck in the middle, right? Like purgatory. you know? I mean, tell us that you know without telling us that you know, Katie. Right? And we know that you know how to move on with your life because you're out on a spa day, right? You still using the handicap placard to park in the parking lot and take up a space that someone else needs, but you want a close parking spot, right? You don't have to walk, you don't want to have to walk too far, right, Katie? But you're able to walk. You can walk out in the woods and try to look for your son. You could do a search. You choose not to. Obviously, you're lazy, and that's maybe one of the reasons. But the other one, I think, is that you know where your son is.
because it's so easy to let it go to the back of your mind because you're going on about your lives. And I understand that life goes on. But for us, for Sebastian, we're in this limbo. And so I would ask, I would beg really that at any point, if you have it in your heart to just share his flyer at a minimum, and we are eternally grateful for that.
And I need to bring this up, and it's just, this is an opportunity to also respond to people because there are always people who are going to point the finger back at the people closest to them. That always happens. What do you say to them?
Okay, guys. So yeah, Shauna, in those pictures, in these pictures right here, somebody was in the parking lot and they were watching Katie, I guess, go in. And when here, I'll take this down really quick. Whenever she was caught on camera, she was parked in a handicap spot. And so they caught her on camera like going in. And I think they were filming her doing this. So like right here, she's coming from her parking spot and it appears that she was parked in the handicap spot. And then she goes in to get her hair and nails done. Or maybe it was just an eyebrow wax. I don't know because it does look like her eyebrows are pretty fresh. But again, and then I noticed you guys talking about Katie's hair. It does look like she only dyed like from here, like she forgot her roots or something. I don't know. Not to get too technical, but I did notice that myself. Especially because this wasn't very long ago. But yeah, it does appear that Katie is going on with her life, parking in the handicap spot, which I mean, they caught her,
in this limbo. And so I would ask, I would beg really that at any point, if you have it in your heart to just share his flyer at a minimum, and we are eternally grateful for that.
And I need to bring this up, and it's just, this is an opportunity to also respond to people because there are always people who are going to point the finger back at the people closest to them. That always happens. What do you say to them?
I would say that we love Sebastian. We care about Sebastian. I love Sebastian. And that I am doing everything I can to bring him home and to find him. And vigilante justice doesn't help. Threats don't help. And that Sebastian deserves to come home in a world where he doesn't see some of the ugliness that's going on, because when he comes home, he will see that too. And I would ask that people take that into consideration.
Okay, so I want Katie, now I'll take it into consideration if she will. So I want Katie to take into consideration that her husband Chris was out there making fun of Sebastian's father for raising awareness outside the police station when he was out there the first time that he did that, right? Because shortly after that, if it wasn't the same day, it was the next day, if I can recall correctly, Chris went on Cluminati's channel, who is no longer has a channel on YouTube, and performed a skit where he was dressed like Sebastian's father. Does Katie think for 1 minute or 1 second that Sebastian would appreciate that? Because I don't think he would, although I don't know Sebastian like she does, because that's her son. But I don't think that Sebastian would like any of those people that have gone after his father at the hands of Chris and Katie's beck and call. So it's real rich coming from her. It's real rich, you know? I love Sebastian while shaking her head no at the same time, you know? Yeah. I mean, and it's like she's trying to convince us, you know? Um, tell me one time KP passed the flyer. I don't know when she did. She says they did when they went to the biker rally, you know? Ashley says, but wasn't Chris threatening other creators who were wanting to come search? Yes. Yes. And he was highly advising against us coming for the gathering, right? He has threatened Chris from Mob Crew. He has threatened Brittany J. He has threatened me inadvertently. He's threatened Bobby the neighbor. He's threatened Seth's sister. He's threatened Seth's mom. You know, I mean, many people have been threatened by Chris Proudfoot. He threatened Terry Lynn with a good time. Okay, so I'm just kidding, guys. That was a joke. But I mean, I guess he did. Heavy Crimey Cat says, wow, she's looking healthy and well fed. I lost so much weight when I lost my son. Oh, Detroit, I know. And see, that's what's so hard to reconcile, you know? I want to know, I want to see the analysis from Deception Detective Faye. I really hope that everybody can get him to analyze this, you know? Yeah, because I would love to see it. Eating her guilt away. Well, and also, you know, as you get older, you know, drinking does take its toll, I think, too. And I think if they're drinking heavily still, that could be a big part of it too, you know. Sammy says eating all the rolls. She took 2 and wouldn't even give 1 for poor Sebastian, and eating all the cornbread. Oh my goodness. And you know, I can't fault her because I love bread, but I also share. I mean, you know, I'll share the bread, but I like bread too. Oh my goodness, that's funny, Sammy.
He doesn't deserve any of it either.
I agree there.
And you and your husband had nothing to do with his disappearance.
No, we did not.
And you and your husband had nothing to do with his disappearance.
No, we did not.
She didn't even let her get the question out. So let's watch that back again.
Any of it either.
And you and your husband had nothing to do with his disappearance.
No, we did not.
And you and your husband had nothing to do with his disappearance.
No, we did not.
She's lying.
how bad does that hurt when
It is
people
crazy.
start accusing you?
It hurts. It hurts a lot. Almost as painful as waking up and finding my son missing is that people would consider that I would do anything to harm my son. And I mean, anyone that knows us, that knows us, knows that Sebastian is loved and that we would never do anything to hurt Sebastian. I mean, anyone that knows us, that knows us, knows that Sebastian is loved and that we would never do anything to hurt Sebastian.
Is that blink again?
I see a sweet smile on your shirt.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a close-up shot of that shirt, but I do want to say thank you for sharing your heart.
Thank you. Thank you for helping and being a part of sharing the awareness for Sebastian. Thank you for keeping his name alive.
So happy to do it.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, so that is the end of the interview. And again, Faye, good catch there. We did not. Typically, people use contractions when they're being honest. I didn't, right? I didn't do anything. I did not do anything. Does shoot up some red flags there on statement analysis. And I think there was so many red flags. And again, it's really the same interview regurgitated, but then they've kind of merged in and added from different interviews as well. So again, it shows that they are making up different little anecdotes as they go along, and then they're forgetting which ones apply to which, right? Like the best example I can give is when Katie's talking about the mom, right, that she likes to do, to say that that's how Sebastian would do it when he's annoyed with her. So this time she's talking about him waking up. You know, when she goes to wake him up, he says that to her. But on Queen Bee, she said that was when she would try to give him a whole bunch of kisses, right? So I need to find that clip and put those together for us, because there were, the truth stays the same, right? But Katie forgets where she's incorporating all of this, and absolute eye blocking. Absolutely. Now, I will say Katie's eyes did look like she had been crying, because my eyes are the same way. Whenever I've been crying, I do get puffy eyes, like how her eyes are puffy. Now, I don't know why her eyes are puffy, if she was just having a rough time of it, because I do believe that she knows where Sebastian is. And I do think she uses the pacifying techniques. I do. Hey, Magic Star. NorCal SoGal says, I actually disagree with the contractions when I'm not, or when I'm trying to make my point and stress it. I do not use contractions. NorCal SoGal, that's funny. But see, your baseline would come out different. And I think that the baseline and the context are the biggest things, because I know, like I was saying earlier, honestly or truly. I mean, there's times when I've used that. Another one that we were talking about the other day was actually. So now I've become aware more of myself saying actually. And I'm like, well, I'm not lying right now. So why am I saying actually? Because that was one of the ones I found that Chris was using more often than Katie, was actually, but he uses it in like, well, actually, and kind of to, I mean, not really even make his point, but to prove somebody wrong more so. No, I know. And she says Sebastian doesn't deserve any of it. I mean, and that can be looked at in a couple different ways, Sasha. And in my opinion, I think that's one thing we can all agree on, at least, that Sebastian deserves better than this. It has to be taking a toll on her. It has to be. Yeah, Shauna, I'm sure she's been crying. This is a lot. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure it's nerve wracking because usually the interviews don't go over well, you know? And maybe the guilt is finally setting in for Katie, because I do think she knows. Um, I just can't overlook that. And I mean, who else would it be if it wasn't Katie? And I think about that a lot because even though I don't know that I could take Chris out of the equation because we just don't know whether he was there or not. And again, I have to say, like I did last night, that, with his mom being a realtor, she has access to properties, vacant properties that Chris could have been hiding out in for the weekend or staying in. Um, and no one would be the wiser. So I do have to always kind of keep that at the back of my mind. And also, their story is either rehearsed or made up because when it comes to Chris and his account of what happened, he's not talking like he was out of town. He's talking like he was there. It's a lot of we statements. It's a lot of we all would have heard it, statements. So he's absolutely putting himself there rather than being on the phone. Because if I overhear a conversation on the phone, I'm going to say, "Well, I heard," right? Because I wasn't there. If I'm there, then it's more of a we situation, or I might say we were all on the phone. But Chris wasn't doing that. He was more so, and then also you can see him, and I don't think he was conscious of it at the time. But in the Chronicles of Olivia interview, when Katie's talking, Chris is sitting there nodding as if he's going through the list in his brain, as if he knows what Katie's saying. And I believe that's because they have a manufactured story. Oh, I believe she cries. SI officer says she's reliving a nightmare every day, in my opinion. She lives in a controlling household, an evil family that made her make a choice, in my opinion. So she did, and now lives that nightmare. I agree with that. I think that could be a big issue, a great big issue when it comes to the ultimatum, right? The fact that Chris's family did not seem to like Sebastian at all. Ashley says the truth will stand when the world is on fire, never ever changes. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it just doesn't. It's easy to remember. NorCal SoGal says her eyes are puffy and a little moist, and I thought I saw one tear roll down the side of her cheek furthest from the camera, but I don't recall what point I saw it. Yeah, I saw her getting teary eyed in the beginning of the interview, but I'd have to go back and look too, NorCal SoGal, because I did see her getting like a little teary eyed. But nothing, but see, she may have met with Holly and was talking to her for a little while too, and maybe she was crying during that, and that's what caused her eyes to get puffy. So also this "we love him" makes me crazy. Yeah. Well, Faye, the thing is usually you would think that she's speaking for herself, right? And she might add Chris into the equation or his whole family. But I mean, we're talking to her, right? Or, excuse me, Holly Thompson is talking to her and asking her direct questions. And she's always bringing in everyone else. And then when there's talking about Sebastian, she says, "I hope the other kids get found too," which is extremely odd. And I think she's doing that to cover up for Chris's crap in the beginning. Because he was talking about, "Oh, we need to have a whole big thing for all the missing kids, not just Sebastian." So she's been pushing that as well. And I think it goes back to what SI officer had just said up there as well. You're protecting a self boundary, but when you have more than one deflecting tactic, especially checking all the boxes. It's viewed different. I look up and down, side to side all the time. Yeah, and I mean, I think too, I was trying to think of which direction people's eyes go if they're telling a lie versus the truth, because I know that that was a big thing to look out for. But again, it's hard for me because I know typically when people recall information, they look to a certain direction. But I mean, those things are kind of just interesting to explore. I don't know how much weight I put on some of it, but I think some of it is just um, there's so much research that's been done, so I can't discount it. Yeah, just another human says, I can't imagine CP loves anyone. All I see is rage from him, seriously. Well, I mean, and he's such a narcissist that he feigns interest in love and love bombs, hoovers, but those are the only types of, love that he shows, in my opinion. Excuse me. How are you feeling? Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's sweet of you, Jenny. Um, NorCal SoGal says, by the way, Lady Freedom, not disagreeing with you, as I've heard other experts say the same thing, RE contractions. You got my point. No, I totally understand because I've become more aware of it myself. Like, so I mean, because there's times where I'll say that, like, to be honest, but I'm saying it more so, I guess, as like a precursor. I don't know. I mean, because I'm not, but I guess maybe I am trying to convince people then. I mean, so I guess it could come off as trying to convince too. Maybe not so much being deceptive, but just trying to convince. Like, but I also think of it as kind of, maybe just part of the lingo too. So, now if somebody asks, you know, I'm trying to think of a question where they would ask you and you would say, "Well, to be honest." But sometimes when people say to be honest, you do think like, "Well, were you not being honest before?" Especially if they're asking you a series of questions. But Katie was overusing it, and then I also think that that comes into play too, because that computer was counting up how many times they were saying honestly, truly, to be honest, actually. I think they counted home, because Katie is always saying home, home, home. He should be home for that. And then in this interview, she's talking about how she should have been around Sebastian. So that's interesting too, just that phrasing, you know. But yeah, it's just it's interesting. It's interesting. Katie looks like she might have rosacea. Yeah, we were talking about that too. Yeah. And I think it comes out when she's nervous. CP stands in the corner throwing fits and pissing his pants, begging for mama's attention. Oh my gosh, Shauna. That was a sick burn. Oh my goodness. She's been rubbing her eyes for an hour. Oh, I was thinking maybe she put some hot sauce in there, Cinderella. Yeah, you never know. With Katie, I mean, she's really trying to convince us. And I think that's the major thing too that I realized with this interview is she's really trying to convince us. You know, Ashley says, OMG, she makes me so flippin' crazy because, in my honest opinion, she knows exactly what happened to Sebastian. What gets me is how the day before she basically takes him on a day out. Yeah, exactly. And she was preparing him for something. Well, and they did so much that day, and then there was no wind down. That always was a big red flag for me too, because it just seems like her story from the time she gets home until the time she says she wakes Sebastian up is just complete BS. The beginning of the story, and this is why I think the 50-50 or the 52% honesty is so interesting. And I put that in this video at the end because it's interesting to me because the parts that were caught on camera are probably where they're showing that 52%. Um, you know, I really do think that. And this is the score right here. This is what the computer was doing the analysis. This was back October 17th of 25. So, just very, very interesting that half of that story that was caught on camera was the truth, and then I think everything about after they left the Texas Roadhouse is the other 48%, which would make up, I mean, half and half of the day. And she was bringing them out everywhere. And I also think she was building an alibi with that as well. But here's the thing, we're hearing though too, and we've heard this from At Night in the past that they didn't get to bowl. They were only there for a total of 10 minutes. And what did they do after that? You know? And he gets so fired up. His panties are in a twist. Shauna says he gets so fired up, rage, when asked those questions about him being at work, etc. I know. And what's the problem? Why wouldn't you want the public to know your alibi? I mean, Seth didn't have a problem sharing his time card, which is wild. But, he was willing to do that to, you know, have the public, and see, that's what many of the innocent parents that we see, they do that. They ask for the polygraphs. They want the police to move on to viable, sources that could have done something to their child. They want to clear themselves first. So I do think they practiced it over and over, probably at nauseum, because Katie can't get it right, and Chris is probably right there making her more and more nervous. Um, yeah, they needed to be questioned immediately. Immediately. Yeah, absolutely. But only one tier. I know, especially when they're asking her questions like, what milestones do you feel like you've missed? I mean, it's almost like they're baiting her to cry, but she didn't, which is alarming. It really is. Hey, Brad KT. Yes, I did make it back safely. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Shauna says that's also a learned behavioral word as well, to be honest. That's why it's important to have multifaceted tactic tools to recognize. But yes, right. And that's what Susan was talking about as well, is like it was like a six-pronged approach or whatever that they were using. But part of it was the words that they would use, and they would establish a baseline too, to see that's part of just how they speak in general. But mostly I think it was just the context, and then that baseline, and also just how many times if there was an overusage of the word. He's so pissy. Oh my goodness. I don't trust Katie either, Brad. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish it wasn't like this for Sebastian, because honestly, when I think about it, and here I am honestly, when I think about that, I do worry about what Sebastian's perception would be, right? When he's not seeing his mother go to bat, when he's seeing her doing all of these crazy interviews and just being, out of sorts. And maybe this is what he's used to too. We just don't know. But I have to say, um, it's rough. It would be rough. I would want my mom to, take these things seriously. So this is from Mayor Isbell. This is the mayor for Sumner County here, the area. Mayor Isbell for Sumner, right? So honored to support Eric Craddock, Sumner County Sheriff, an an outstanding leader, friend, and public servant, right? Grateful for his continued dedication to keeping Sumner County safe and strong. Really? Well, if that isn't a load of crap, right? I just wanted to read these off to you guys because I put these in the thumbnail. Okay, so now we have, this is, whoa, buddy. All right, so Isabel, right, for Sumner, honored to support Eric Craddock, and this is a second picture. And this is number 2 of 10. So there's more to this, but I haven't, looked. But I think these were the two big takeaways. And there's Mr. Craddock. He's okay to be at public events like this, right? When they're trying to get him reelected, but not so much when we're trying to find Sebastian. Really interesting, I just noticed the blue wrench is now a shield. I know. Yeah, they're doing. See, it still looks like a wrench on my end, but now they're doing shields, which I think shields are pretty cool because, you guys are protecting the chat. I don't know what the wrench would mean, right? Because, like, a wrench, it's kind of like, I don't know, are we going to fix the chat? So, um, they should have immediately. Yeah, everybody. Ashley, and that's where I'm coming from too. And even when I've said that, Seth has been in the chat before and he's like, "Oh, don't be sorry about that." I agree with that. And even looking into everybody, right? Like heavily looking into everybody that could possibly have something to do with Sebastian's disappearance, right? I mean, we are always going to look at the family first, right? And that's in any case. Because there are usually contributing factors. Sometimes there's not. I mean, sometimes you have a case like we were talking about earlier with Elizabeth Smart, where her father was, having this man do work on the home. He wasn't thinking that this person was going to steal his daughter from her bedroom, right? And his wife didn't realize that she was going to leave the window open, and there's just a series of events that kind of played out perfectly to have this happen, right? Not the perfect crime though, because she was found. But we just don't have those elements here with Sebastian. We need that smoking gun. We need that clue. That's what they were talking about. They need this clue. I think they need to get a clue. But they're looking for that one thing. What is that one thing? How much more, what is the straw that's going to break the camel's back here? They should have the snuggle struggle background outstanding. Yeah, I would love to go out there and protest that event. SI officer. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you guys too before I hop off here. Now I know I've been going back and forth, but it's because I've been really able to sit and look at this footage, right? Um, and so I did notice that there was a there was something interesting. And then I went into my comments and I saw our friend Rosebud had uh, left me a comment saying, I think that officer hit one of the signs, right? And I was like, "Yes, I just saw that actually." And I'm glad that she saw it too because it confirmed it to me because I was gonna show you guys, but then I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna be like, lady, we're over, seeing your footage again and again." But I wanted to show you guys because like I said, I haven't gotten a chance to look over even my footage, let alone everybody else's that did such a great job out there. But since this clip was in question, I did take this clip from Bullhorn Betty and I zoomed in on it. And I want to show you this part, right? So we slow jammed it um, in the whole 9 yards, right? So we got this deputy dipshit, in my opinion, acting a fool, and everybody was being kind. There was a lady that was waving and everything, but this is going to be before that. So we can see like a super clear view of everything right here. Here it is. See, this is the neon green sign. This is one of the poles across the street, and people were hanging the signs on the poles. But see how his arm goes back, and I'm going to have to slow it down even a little bit more and back it up. Okay. See, and you could even see his hand right here. Oh, goodness sakes. Okay. All right. Yep. Right there. Did you guys see that? My gosh, it's just like, isn't that to try it? I couldn't believe it. And then Rosebud's like, "Oh, I saw it." And I'm like, "Oh, you did? I just saw that too." And I wrote her back in the comments. Because yeah. And I mean, what was he trying to do? Knock down Sebastian's, I mean, I don't know what the sign said, but there's no reason. That is defacing property, isn't it? That's not his to touch, is it? Oh gosh, I'm not trying to make things horrible, but I mean, I noticed it and then someone else noticed it, so I had to kind of point it out. It's just so interesting that they got so worried about this. Oh, gosh, I don't know. I mean, they're assholes. Asshole mios, right? I mean, and it's these little things. It's these little things that is like, but why? I mean, it's kind of like when we're little and our parent we do something, we're not supposed to do, and our parents look at us like, why? And that's how I feel about this. I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, did that make you feel better there? I mean, talk about Mr. Pissy Pants. Quite a few people had their panties in a twist over a love and support for Sebastian. And I didn't see any signs that were disrespectful, guys. It wasn't like we were out there like, fry Chris and Katie. It wasn't like that. It really wasn't. I showed you guys the signs that I made. So, um, you know, that's that. I mean, I'm gonna be pointing these little things out as we see them because I haven't had a chance to go through it, Faye, and it is a wow. It's a wow moment. Um, and I'm still looking for that footage of the bird because I don't think I got it, but I mean, I might have. I need to go look back on um Crime Time Buzz because somebody said that she was showing it. So I'll have to go back and look. Um and then we did have some eyewitnesses, but if they got far down, we might not have been able to catch it. So, um, but nevertheless, this behavior is unacceptable, and it's sad. Thank you, Shauna. I was so glad to have you tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Good night. Thank you. You are amazing as well. And thank you so very much. You are so sweet. So SI officer says, yeah, and the other officer probably said, don't do it. Well, I mean, the female officer was being respectful. I mean, she may not have agreed with what we were doing, which is okay. I mean, some people don't, but I think the way we did it was something to be really proud of and kind of, I don't know. I think it's something to look up to, I guess. I don't know how to say it properly, but it's something that people should consider doing more of, the demonstrating peacefully. And just, it really felt good to come together and do that, you know. Um was that a sign on the pole or a tree on our side of the street? So it was a pole across the street. So it was this big light pole. So it was like, yeah, it was like the electrical pole. And people were just see, like, this is the sign on the tree here. Cause like people were putting up because there were little poles around and stuff. See, like I just put mine right there. Excuse me. And because they had that little wall. And the way the camera is facing, it's kind of a weird angle. Um, But yeah, right here is the pole where he's gonna hit. and you can kind of see them coming up right here. So, but that pole is on the other side. I just, it just makes you wonder what kind of a person we're dealing with there. Did you see Crime Time Buzz about calling the sheriff's office to do a official complaint? No, I haven't been able to watch everybody. Aw, that's wonderful. I'm telling you, those everybody beeping for Sebastian, honking for Sebastian, that was wonderful. Yes, we screen recorded it from Betty. Complaints were called into the sheriff's office. Dog was watching it live with us, and he had made a statement in at night. Made a statement. Not sure if you saw it. No, I did not. I did not. Um, because well, I was told that Nick does Dog's account. So I was like, maybe Nick was in because I don't know. When I went to Dog's official account, he I think it was Nick. That's terrible. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. There was a couple of signs across the street from where we were gathered as I saw Betty take them down at the end of the day. I don't know what those said. Yeah, I'm not sure either. And I'm surprised I didn't notice them. Like, I know people were putting them up. I saw people putting them up, but I thought they were just like honk for Sebastian. I don't think it was anything derogatory or anything like that. I think people were probably trying to put it because it looks like it was facing in that one direction in order for people when they drove by to see it as they were coming up. So I'm guessing it said honk for Sebastian, but I'm not sure. Um, Very disrespectful and don't touch things that aren't yours. And I don't know, it just really immature. I think immature is a good one too. I didn't go across the street by the chicken and waffles place. Yeah, I didn't even know they had a chicken and waffles place. NorCal. Oh my goodness. But there's a lot down there. If there's any decent officer inside Sumner County, I bet they agree with us. I think some of them did, Faye. And I'll tell you, shout out to Gallatin. Gallatin police officers were coming by and honking for Sebastian, which was so nice. I mean, and that's the thing. I was kicking myself because they had come by after I was live, and I didn't get a chance to get it on camera, because I would have liked to have done that. I like to get everything, not just one side of things, and I thought it was nice of them to honk and support. Because we're just innocent. Good Samaritans, people who are concerned citizen is probably the best one. Out there, we weren't trying to cause any issues. So, did you catch when someone said, "OMG, uh, that cop just flipped Seth off"? Okay, so I think that might have been the real me too, Detroit. And then she was in chat, last night, and she's like, "Yeah." He definitely did it when he was down the street. That's why I'm wondering if there's more footage or if he knew where the cameras were and went to a place where he knew he wasn't going to be caught. Cuz like I was too far down, and I couldn't zoom in. Oh, okay, the 32-minute. Thanks, Ice Bama. Hey. So it was around the 32-minute mark on my video for the finger. Okay. um 32-minute mark. I'm gonna have to go look because I do want to download it and zoom in on it. So thank you. Yeah, because I want to kind of do it all from all of our perspectives and see if I can't, put like a good kind of compilation video together. Because I am gonna do a panel this weekend as well to have people come up and say their experience. I think it'll be fun. I think you guys will enjoy that too. Um, I think it was a big time missed opportunity. Katie would have been welcome to come there. Um, But I think it was a missed opportunity for them to have done something for Sebastian themselves too. They didn't necessarily have to join us. I would have been grateful full that they would have done something for Sebastian on their own. Because I understand that sometimes it's just never not going to work out. Um, Not everybody can work together, and but we can still do things for a common goal. You know. Yeah, see, I know NorCal SoCal. Well, and I was focused on. I know I was focused on them when they were walking down. Because when I saw the commotion, I started walking that direction, and I was like, "Oh, okay," But I saw a thumbs up, and then I saw him kind of putting his hands in the air, not like he's a true player. Like it was more like he's being a punk. But I mean, and I just don't understand. I think too. I was like processing it. I'm like, I can't believe he's doing that. What's up with that? Especially because like everything was pretty calm. I mean, people were saying, they're calling for justice, they're calling for honks, we were calling for, it being 2 years too long. Where's Sebastian? But it wasn't anything like derogatory. So, but NorCal SoCal says, even though I was there, I heard a ruckus, but didn't see the cop's gesture because it happened right when Betty was about to be interviewed by the WSMV4 and she was asking for quiet. Yeah. I mean, oh boy, I can't believe they didn't get it because their cameras are good. They have like way better technology than we had. So, Sammy says no, it was definitely on camera. Blurred on Crime Time Buzz later, but not at first. And several people in the crowd say he just flipped Seth off. Oh gosh. Okay, so it wasn't blurry. So if I go, because this one was so blurry, and just looking back at it, um, it looks like he's pointing in this one, but once he got down the street, although I will say at this point, um, okay, he's walking, his arms are swinging by. The lady waves, right? What a sweetheart. She's waving to them. Right here kind of looks like it. And I pointed this out yesterday too. But he's like pointing at people or flipping them, but I don't know why, because they're not it's not like they're throwing tomatoes, They're not like, "Hey, officer, you suck." Da, 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 or anything. But see here it looks like he's pointing again too. It's just so hard to see it when you zoom in because I mean, otherwise it's crystal clear. Um and then everyone's like, "Oh, Seth." And then here I am just walking meandering down the way, and there goes Jen. Oh, sorry. But yeah, I'll have to really go back and look over the footage. But thank you guys for letting me know where to look for it too. Oh gosh. Oh no, Detroit says I was watching Lady Freedom's footage when I heard it for the first time. Oh boy. Oh my. And see, this is Betty's, so I haven't. Oh boy. Because this is the one I kept seeing on there, and then I was trying to zoom in, and then I was like, oh, let me see what I could come up with. And ISI officer says, I have not followed up with the filed complaint. Was there a reprimand for the situation or any response or reply? I'll have to look into that. I would like to know too, because I think at the very least it needs to be on file. The complaint, something has to happen, like, look, we can't be doing that, and I don't even want to sound like, Chris Proudfoot and say there should be a public apology, but maybe there should be a public apology. I mean, it would go a long way, wouldn't it? It would be it would be proper. I don't know. I apologize for things though. You know what I mean? I'm not like somebody that overly does it, but I think if I'm wrong, I feel like I need to apologize, you know? And if you made somebody feel bad, but I mean, it was absolutely deliberate. And seeing him hit that sign tonight, I was like, "Oh crap." You know, I mean, because again, it's just kind of sad to watch it back too. And I think that's why I was a little bit avoiding it as well. And I was like, well, I'll just watch Mr. and Mrs. E instead, you know, because that was a good live. And but yeah, getting into it, like I said, because I do want to do a panel this weekend. It'd be good to get different perspectives. I think it'd be a great panel. You guys will enjoy it. Um, the police should be in contact of their emotion. Yeah, I think so too. They should be in check with their emotions. Not reactive, proactive, and they should set an example. And they shouldn't be mad at us for gathering. It's our right to assemble, peacefully. It's not like we were acting crazy or flipping over a cop car. I can understand them being upset about that. Sammy says he points to Seth, allegedly, and then he puts his hand down towards his waist, like or his waist, and does like an up you. Ooh, it's blurry, but you can see it. Dang. Okay. So and here's the thing too. I was looking out, through my camera, but I was also looking above my camera, right? Because I was looking at you guys and what I was having you guys see while I was filming it or on the live. But I was also looking up, so I might have been, looking in between, and it happened really quickly too. So that's a strong possibility, I'm thinking. Um, Ice Bama says Crime Time Buzz filed a formal complaint with a sergeant, and that had no idea of all this was going on. Aw. Now he does, and now Brandon Carter is finally answering back emails on tips. Something happened. Well, that's great. I mean, we needed to make a difference here, and I'm glad that we did. And I think the fact that they're showing that they're perking up, or they're showing attention, is a good thing. At the end of the day, it's just about finding Sebastian. Like, there's just something so wrong about this whole situation. There's many things wrong. Katie's interview was super weird. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Anything that Seth said. And the thing is I was proud of Seth, because he was saying things like, you need to find my son. He was really keeping it about Sebastian, when really they were taking it personal. I can't say that I wouldn't have taken that personally. And the weirdest thing is that he's law enforcement just like them. So, I'm glad you were here, Star. Thank you for coming by. Well, if no officer is answering Seth's calls, Seth is a saint. I don't know what I would do. I know I would be down there all the time. I would. So, um, Sammy says the other LE acted like they had no idea how Carter and Snuggle Struggles handled this case. Seems shocked about the Snuggle Struggle comment. If true, maybe there's something much different than we think. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know that people are aware of what's going down on YouTube, which I think they need to be. I mean, especially with Chris and Katie and their statements. And yeah, the Snuggle Struggle comment, I can't believe he was so proud he left that up there. I would think the minute that you were in the law enforcement, I mean, I'll just say also, the military doesn't appreciate that either. They are not okay with it. The disrespect. So what's right, check, is Thomas Dean and the FBI, Sasha. Sammy says, oh, that's right. I forgot Carter sent an email. I wonder what's really going on inside that sheriff's department. I wonder too. Yeah, I wonder the same thing. Well, and Detective Carter needs to get his butt in gear and, maybe even just go back over the case again. But something has to happen, and I hope we made a big difference, guys. That was the key to going, because I do think that there is corruption at a very high level, and I think that Chris and Katie have been skating by, and I think they have a false sense of confidence. I really do. And it's going to be a really rough fall from grace for these people. And I think that they know it's coming. I know they did the interview without Chris because they didn't want because, well, for one, they know that we don't want to hear from Chris. Nobody cares what he has to say, especially if he's saying he wasn't there, right? So he has to sit in the background. But then again, he doesn't let anybody talk to Katie without him being present. So, and then number two, I think Katie again comes off disingenuous, and she is intermingling stories and anecdotes and putting them in incorrect spots. And I think that's a big red flag too, because, especially if you're recalling information, it's not going to change. So, um, yeah, I know, Sasha. And, I think that he just may be in a position where he's got to believe and listen to his boss, free fallen, free fallen from grace. It's becoming crystal clear, right? Right? Yeah, I think it's been crystal clear and they lawyered up, NorCal SoGal says overall, in my opinion, other than that instance, LE and first responders and passersby seem supportive. I agree, because we had a bunch of fire trucks too, like, wah, wah, I mean, they really were. They were getting with it for Sebastian, because a lot of people look at his picture and they're, how can you not want to find this young man? He's an innocent victim, and we expect our police officers, our first responders, all of our public servant people, we expect them to care. And a lot of them do, and a lot of them don't like this because it's making them all look bad. They're probably embarrassed of that, and they shouldn't be held responsible for the actions of one bad apple, you know? So I'm hoping that we did. I mean, I'm very proud of what we did, and I think it is ruffling some feathers, and I think that's a good thing, you know. Yeah, he's a control freak on steroids, big time. Well, the narcissism is the steroids, in my opinion. So, um, Sasha, thanks. Well, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and hit the hay here very shortly, because I do want to get up and do another live with you guys in the afternoon, probably around like 1:30 or 2:30 again. And maybe we'll just go over some of that footage, or perhaps maybe some of Mr. and Mrs. E's. But I did want to get that one, you know, um, edited down a little bit. Um, they just did such an excellent job. So, um, thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I know. I was just so glad to be with everybody, because guys, I just have to say, even though there's a lot of like hoopla around Sumner County, people in Sumner County are awesome. Like it is a nice place. I hate for people to see like the bad, and that, so it was just, I don't know, because it breaks my heart, because I know there's so many good people there. So, you know, and I do want to share a story with you guys tomorrow. Because just today it came out that they found a missing girl. She had been missing for 2 years, and they brought the U.S. Marshals in, the TBI, and Nashville Metro was also involved. And I think it's important for us to recognize that. So, yeah, we need to We need to spread awareness. And we'll play that too on the live tomorrow, Detroit, the Cleveland clip. Yeah, because I need to go back and watch it. I just want to find out who those two little girls were. My goodness, how sad. So, oh, I don't know. Craddock did shut the door on her. I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't hear that. Oh boy. I need to go back and listen to everybody's stuff though too. He did deny an interview. He did. And I don't think he gives a crap. I think he's just worried about himself. And that's unfortunate. That's not a leader, you know. Eric Craddock looks really good on paper, but in action, not so much, in my opinion. So, well, guys, I'm so glad to have had all of you guys here tonight. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all tomorrow afternoon. Thank you.